This is Sybert signing into 0 Hour on the map. Koju Akawa for game number 1 of this best of 13. Our first quarterfinal from the 2025 World Series. In the top left-hand corner, playing the USA Laser and looking for his repeat in the finals, this is Excal. Meanwhile, on the right side, he's never made it past the quarterfinals. This is his year. This is his chance. But he has to go through a multi-time world finalist, multi-time world champion. On the right side, things are stacked against him. He's Cyan, USA Vanilla. This is Staz. Staz and Excal have actually met in the quarterfinals before, and wait a second, are they both going to be dozer dropping each other? It looks like they are. Boy, oh boy, we're starting off with a USA mirror, and we are just mirroring each other. Missile Defender on its way over. Laserlock does come in. Dozer is very close to finishing up. The Dozer will end up dying, but so does Stazz's Dozer there as well. Now, the command center is kept around for both players, so losing the Dozer isn't the end of the world, but of course you do have to spend that 1K to rebuild it. Laser lock onto the Chinook. Going to be chasing that away. Chinook does end up going down, and the barracks is taking some damage as well. Once again, a Dozer going to die on the other side of the map. Will it actually die? Okay, yes, it finally does. Staz down to 0 Dozers, no more construction until he pays that $1,000 price tag. Missile defenders spread throughout the map. Rangers coming out from Excal to try and shut this down. Rangers coming out from Staz to try and shut Excal down as well. Chinook will return. Flashbangs should be coming out as well from one of these players at least, as there are 4 Rangers on the side of Staz to try and shut down that barracks from Excal. Excal has at least completed the first step. He is going to be losing a Chinook to the Laserlock. Double Missile Defender here. Puts out a lot of damage. Doesn't actually kill the Chinook. It does manage to escape with about half of its HP. Supplies not going to be harvested if this barracks remains, so Staz needs to get rid of it. He doesn't actually get the capture off. Excal does get the kill. Only 1 missile defender here for Excal. Oil Derrick being captured in the corner there by both players. Maybe a little bit faster for Excal. Another Chinook taking a massive amount of damage. It will end up going down. Not a lot of harvesters remaining from the original bunch. Both players are having to spend additional cash rebuilding harvesters, rebuilding dozers as well. Staz rebuilding his dozers after his initial 2 ended up going down. And now Excal laser locking down more Chinooks. They will escape for the current moment. 3 Chinooks, one of them low on health, and more Rangers on their way out. Artillery platform in the middle of the map getting grabbed by Staz. Oil Derricks under the control of Excal. At least for the current moment, both players are getting close to stabilizing. Well, not if you lose your command center, as the Dozer will be able to get the crush before, or the Humvee can get the crush. Laserlock comes in, missile defenders go down. Humvee does not get shut down, and the crush comes in, so goodbye to that Ranger, and I think this will be goodbye to this attack for the current moment. Humvee coming in, Oil Derrick's not going to be captured. Excal, I think, will be denied. Both players thrown into a frenzy, pure chaos, basically from minute 1 on map number 1 of this best of 13 in the quarterfinals to see who advances on to the semifinals. Rock V's are finally making their way out. This map feels relatively close, relatively short rush distance, and with the opening that both players went to, it has been a purely chaotic mess. Staz at about 7K per minute. Excal down 1K, less than that per minute. No one has grabbed the tech repair bay in the middle of the map. A couple of Humvees are out. One of them is double vet. Rock V's not going to be trading places. Of course, trading shots rather. Of course, both players would love to eventually get out search and destroy for the additional range to just purely have a stats boost over their opponent. Excal really needs to shut this down, but does he want to trade a whole Humvee for it? He might be able to show up and just burst down this tech repair bay after it ends up being captured. He's going to try and skate by, but these are Humvees with tows as well. Laserlock comes in. That's 2 dead Humvees on the side of Staz. Even if he has a better economy, it won't matter if he ends up losing all of his Rockvies right there on the front line. Next, the tech repair bay needs to be dealt with by Excal. He can deny some of the economy here from the high ground. The other supply dock is free to be harvested, and they can also long distance harvest from the middle of the map. Excal starting to take control of the middle of the map. He's got at least these 3 Humvees drawing Stazz's attention, and Staz has remained on top of the economy graph for the majority of this game, and there is going to be search and destroy coming out first from Staz. So he's got tow missiles, he has got a stat bump as well, he's got repairs. All things are coming up. Staz full surround, but missile defenders will trade at least 1 back. Excal getting value for his units trapped in his opponent's base. Everything else ends up going down, and Excal now has a difficult situation he has to overcome. Surely he has his own strategy center on the way. He does indeed. And Excal, he may have the winning historical record of these 2 players, but a number of those matches have been extremely close, so Staz is up to the task of taking Excal the distance in this series and potentially even knocking him out of the World Series 2025. Still no tow missiles for Excal. He obviously has had the cash over the course of this game, but he has instead decided to go for a later search and destroy, but just more Humvees. He has skipped tow missiles entirely, so he has a little bit less DPS for each of his Humvees. Crossing the map, missile defenders inside of this Humvee will be able to snipe one Chinook. The other one does escape for the current moment. And Humvees coming through. USA Vanilla with the slight advantage here in the kills. Every kill that gets racked up just makes it feel that much better for USA. Staz pushes onto the backside of the base, and he is going to be chased down and eliminated eventually here. Missile defender doesn't get the kill. Pilot might be able to escape out the back. Couple of missile defenders continuing to deny mining for Excal. Middle of the map has been cleared out. Goodbye to that tech repair bay, and a bomb planted somewhere in the south. Colonel Burton on the scene. Staz running for the corner of the map, hoping to avoid detection, and Colonel Burton is far enough away that no one is going to catch him there. First 2 oil derricks in the south are down. Well sniped by Staz. Bursts come out, and that's 1 dead Humvee. Colonel Burton again just hanging out there in the corner. Okay, he has finally been spotted, so good night to Colonel Burton. He had a good run. Doesn't actually try to trade back against that Humvee. Colonel Burton does a surprising amount of bursts, so sometimes you can get a lot of damage done. Triple building kill, including the supply center from that Warthog strike. Nicely done by Excal, as he's also looking to push down the ramp into the base. Laserlock comes out, but that missile defender dies before the first shot lands. Barracks taking a couple of shots here. Quick burst from Excal, and that's a dead Barracks. Can he actually escape up the ramp? The answer should be yes. If he chooses to escape, he can manage to get out of the base. Okay, he chooses to engage, and the result will be 3 dead Humvees. Last one low on health. Missile defenders come out, Pathfire shots raining out, and Staz cleans everything up. Warthog strikes on the other side of the map, cleaning up some of Excal's base. And Staz absolutely taking Excal to task here. 3rd oil derrick has been cleaned up there in the corner. Still 2 on the side of Staz, 1 on the side of Excal, and a decent number of Rockvies on both sides. Search and destroy has now been reinitiated, I think, by someone. Not actually sure where that came from. Down here in the south, as the strategy center comes back online, and more shots raining out. Missile defenders will get cleaned up. The Pathfinders making short work of those MDs when they're out of the Humvee. Staz cleans everything up. He's got a slight army value advantage, but of course Humvees have so little HP, and Excal is so good at ejecting missile defenders and getting successful laser locks that a little bit of cash on one side does not mean that it will be a guaranteed victory. A little bit of extra army value on one side doesn't necessarily mean a win. Colonel Burton will plant the bombs, and this will be 2 more dead oil derricks. Unfortunately for Staz, he is going to be losing that lifeline economy. Colonel Burton has done his job getting cleaned up as the oil derricks tick lower and lower, and Excal pulls back to his main base. Pure numbers for Humvees and missile defenders roaming the map looking for that angle. This does potentially give us a moment to actually mention some of the history between these two players. Excal is currently on a streak of 5 finals appearances from 2020 to 2024. This could be number 6. He could finally rack up that 6, but he is not on a winning streak of being the world champion. That is currently Marakar, as Marakar defeated Excal in the finals of the last World Series. But as I said, Staz hasn't actually made it past the quarterfinals, so Staz fighting for his life to potentially make his first semifinals appearance, get his first top 4 finish, guaranteed in the World Series. And Excal, anything short of a finals reappearance of the shot to become the world champion once again would potentially feel like a missed opportunity. A couple of Humvees going down on both sides. Both players a little bit cautious to engage, worried about the burst potential from these Humvees. Spy drones going to be getting tagged by the anti-air missiles, will get cleaned up. Humvee gets caught. Humvee goes down, as Excal will find himself once again down on units, but up on economy at this point. Most of the oil derricks have gone down. Only one remains in the top left-hand corner, and that is Excal's advantage. For the past couple of minutes, Warthog strike comes in. One Warthog actually gets eliminated, and because of that, the strategy center does survive. Excal gonna chase. He's going deep. He doesn't snipe the ambo just yet. It takes a lot of shots, and for the current moment, he's avoiding the absolute destruction. Dozer will be hunted. Again, not the end of the world, but it's cash down the drain, not spent on your army. Good eject there by Staz. Will end up losing a lot of his missile defenders. No hope for the quick snipes from the Pathfinders on the side of Excal. Warthogs will end up getting tagged. Might actually absorb some of the damage here as Excal gets caught behind enemy lines. The missile defenders and the Rangers putting extra damage into this attacking force. One Humvee, one ambo will manage to escape onto the Excal side of the map, and the strategy center will be forced to be sold off by Staz. Excal going deep, spots the oil refinery there in the corner, and will try to escape along the southern edge of the map. Staz chasing, will find the damage. That's low damage mode or high damage mode, as Excal ends up losing the last of his Humvees there. He is still up on economy. He is now nearly double the economy of his opponent by shutting down that corner supply, and also by maintaining his own oil derrick reactor up and running here for Excal. Will just be potentially another target in the middle of the map. Not a lot of actual buildings there for the current moment. Excal is going to be the first one to actually build a supply center there. USA famous for their long distance harvesting due to the speed of the Chinooks and the fact that they fly. Artillery platform can't always quite engage with this army, as its shots do end up getting body blocked. Tow missiles finally added on for Excal, and now he finds the army advantage as well. The GG comes out, and Staz drops game number 1. He did not have the cash to rebuild by the end, but he will have a chance to take the game from the other side of the matchup. And as we head back to Koju Akawa for game number 2, Excal puts the first point on the board, but we'll see if Staz can have good fortune with the USA laser. This may be the exact same kind of like chaotic missile defender dozer drop from both players, trying to sneak the barracks into your opponent's base. But I do want to talk about the history between these two players, because they met in the quarterfinals now for the 3rd time in the World Series. Every time it has been a best of 13, and Excal has won every single time. So this is the opportunity for history to be broken, the pattern to be separated. Excal has a winning record, 7-1 in 2023. And 7-6 in 2022. So as the Chinooks pass each other, Staz nearly beat Excal in 2022, which would have denied Excal from getting that World Championship that year. But in this case, Excal is just fighting for his chance to become a finalist again. Because he did not win in 2024, he is not the defending world champ. Dozer gets sniped. Barracks does not get up. Bad news for Excal. Staz has an opportunity to sort of even things up, go 1-for-1 on this first map. And this first map is also Excal's choice. So Excal is looking to open this up. Of course, he didn't know what the matchup would be, but he did choose this map, so he's going to be comfortable on this map. And if Staz is able to turn this map into a 1-1, we actually go in map number 2 to Stazz's map choice of, I believe, Blossoming Valley will be map number 2. So if Staz can even things up, then that's going to be a great way to open this series, given that this is Excal's map choice. Missile defenders getting a couple of shots against each other. Slow start to both players because they went for the proxy barracks. Of course, Excal's was denied, Stazz's was not. But oiled air captures coming in on both sides. Excal, I think, a little bit slower on the uptake this time than in that previous game. Staz with, once again, the economic advantage, and also with these more missile defenders coming out from the proxy barracks, he is, for the current moment, going to be able to deny any harvesting on this supply stash. So goodbye to those choppers. You got to get them out of here. They're actually just going to try and go and get the supplies that they can. The missile defender goes down, but so does the Chinook. And for the current moment, Excal is down on economy, but it's very, very close. Staz is just barely ahead of Excal. And I think they're going to stabilize into nearly the same place. And we'll see if the slight advantage for Excal ends up making a difference. In that last game, it did not. Staz was ahead on economy by a little bit for much of the game, and Excal ended up winning it. So Staz being ahead on economy by a little bit, yet again, doesn't necessarily mean very much. If we do end up going all the way to an ace match, just like they did in 2022, I feel like Excal will have the advantage, being a player who has won in ace matches, who has the clutch factor to turn a series around. I feel like Excal will have that advantage, and maybe Staz can disrupt Excal before that and not let it get to an ace match, starting with this game number 2, turning it around and making this a 1-1 series score. Humvee's taking a lot of damage here. Crush comes in, but one of the missile defenders ends up surviving. Excal has the better numbers for the current moment, and Staz continuing to pump out more and more missile defenders, rangers on top of this base. The proxy barracks, it hasn't accomplished very much. It has done a little bit. It's denied some definite mining. It's killed a couple of supply choppers as well. And the dozer is still alive. So Staz has not had to rebuild that. And now Staz can steal these 2 oil derricks, which would be a huge blow to the economy of Excal. Again, it's not the end of the world, sniping these Chinooks, taking down the oil derricks, but these things do add up, and the advantages can become absolutely massive in a mirror matchup. Actually, versus many other players, it would be game-ending, but versus Excal, it feels like you can never count this guy out. He is typically just a step above everyone else. However, denying the oils, denying the Chinooks, getting those kills, it all does matter in the end. More Chinooks taking damage. This one wasn't pulled off the line fast enough, so he will go down. Missile Defender Laser Lock from the high ground from Staz. Another kill lands. Missile Defenders from earlier trying to find the kill on the War Factory. They end up getting cleaned up by that Humvee. Tow missiles out for Staz. Again, a lot quicker than they were for Excal both games this time. And Excal choosing to stick with no tow missiles, but just more Humvees, more missile defenders. And of course, in this case, he does have the proxy barracks to worry about. Staz, again, he's up 4K total resources gathered. He's up a little bit in army value, but not enough that you should count Excal out. More and more as the game goes on, if these oil derricks stay under the control of Staz, it's a bigger and bigger advantage to Staz. Excal gonna have a fun time clearing out this section of the base, just buying more and more time for Staz. Supplies in the south should be captured eventually here by Staz and Excal. Would be kind of funny to have Staz end up stealing some of these supplies away from Excal. For the current moment, that won't end up happening. Missile Defenders get the laser lock, and that's going to be 2 dead Humvees. One goes down, the second one so low on health, but still in range. And the oil derricks are going to be tried to captured back by Excal. Once again, into the middle of the map goes Excal, hoping to get the killing blow on the production of Staz. It hasn't happened so far, but he keeps on trying. Tech repair bay in the middle, untouched for the current moment. Missile defenders inside of this Humvee helping to clear out these Rangers and get the kill on the barracks and the dozer. Goodbye to the proxy, goodbye to these close buildings, and in the north, the oil derrick will be targeted down. I mentioned before, Staz has never made it to the top 4 of the World Series, unless it was like before 2020, but I couldn't find all of the brackets for every previous World Series, but I found a lot of them, and Staz has not made it to the top 4. In 2020, 2022, and 2023, Staz ended up losing in the quarterfinals to the guy who ends up winning the entire tournament. So that's the cope, is that Staz often makes it to the top 8, never makes it to the top 4, but often loses to the guy who ends up winning it all. Maybe he could go all the way to the finals. Maybe he could even win a world championship if he would just stop running into the victor so early on. A little bit like Size and Fargo running into each other early in like the round of 32 of this event. Size, a previous world champion, getting knocked out in like round 2 of the event just because he ran into another good player by bad luck of the draw, so to speak. But it does happen, and of course here in the quarterfinals we are expecting all 8 players to be very good. Almost everyone in the top 8 is either a Worlds finalist, a World Series champion, or someone who has consistent performances in the top 4. Staz is one of those outliers. There's a couple of guys who I think have never quite made it to the top 4. They've fallen out in the round of 8 before. Staz is one of those guys, and looking to disrupt Excal right here in this series. Once again, Excal staying very close to Staz in terms of economy and in terms of army, but he is down by comparison. Again, very similar to that last game, which Excal ended up winning. Staz steps forward, he bursts down the building, and once again, I think the shots raining out from Staz, the Pathfinders, the earlier get from Staz, it ended up being the Warthog strikes coming in from Excal that did some pretty critical damage earlier in that game number 1 and helped get Excal the win. Missile defenders going down, buildings getting busted, more Chinooks going down, and instead of the Pathfinder, he gets that level 2 Warthog. So when you go for the Warthog strike, you can get 3 different levels, and one of the levels you can forego if you go for the Pathfinders. So their search and destroy has been eliminated. The strategy center has been cleaned up there once again by that Warthog strike. But Into the back of the base goes Staz. He's going to be able to circle around the strategy center and get the kill anyways, so he's got the Pathfinders, and he gets the kill on the strategy center without having to use the one-click. Staz finds the damage even without the help of the Warthogs from the sky. Dozer's getting cleaned up there. Excal has lost his Dozers. He's again going to have to waste his cash on rebuilding Dozers instead of building units that actually do something. Missile defenders get the laser locks, and that's dead Humvees. That's an even trade, but also Colonel Burton was not spotted. And the missile defenders dumped out of those Humvees, and Staz was able to keep Colonel Burton a secret for the current moment. Now, we are past the 10-minute mark in a USA mirror, so the idea of Colonel Burton entering the game is not a foreign concept to either one of these players. It's going to be in the back of their mind, but it's always nice to have it actually confirmed. And now, with that level 4 general power, we have Excal adding Pathfinders into the mix as well. Rangers getting sniped there. Colonel Burton will plant his bombs. He will also reveal himself in a more confirmed way to Excal. Bomb gets planted. Staz stepping in. Excal knows about Colonel Burton, but he's much more worried about these Humvees on his front door. This is going to be a dead war factory. That's going to be the production of Excal completely shut down. It might be a bit of a trade on the other side of the map, but it's a big set of Rockvies in the base of Excal, and there is nothing to stop them. On the left side of the map, Excal continuing to push forward. Staz has a missile defender out. He's got a couple of extra Humvees because his war factory is deep in his base instead of on the front line. Excal gets the kills on the front line. He annihilates everything, and one more Humvee will come out, being fed to the wolves. Like a lamb to slaughter goes that Humvee. Hands away a veteran, a fully heroic status, a third chevron to that Humvee. Those tow missiles hit extra hard. One more out onto the field. A couple of more missiles would have knocked down that Humvee, but Excal will tap out. Staz wins the base race. Better firepower is just better in the end. And Staz evens up the score. He doesn't care about history. He doesn't care about the losing streak. He's here to fight Excal every step of the way. And I do want you to know that this video is powered by Silver Knight PCs, a PC shop based in Fayetteville, North Carolina, owned by a longtime RTS and Command & Conquer fan. I mean, the guy who owns Silver Knight actually has stuff signed by Joe Kukin, Kane himself. I'm actually on my second Silver Knight PC right now. The first one is almost 6 years old, and it still runs great. I use it for work and gaming from time to time. If you're looking for a new PC or even just components for your existing machine, you should check out silverknightpcs.com. If you want a new PC, they have a custom-built PC form you can fill out to specify not just your budget, but many other preferences such as Intel versus AMD versus Nvidia, what kind of games you like to play, what resolution you want to play on. They will tailor the build to you and your needs, and you can even go all out with laser engraving, themed components, or full case wraps and graphics. So for your computer needs, check out Silver Knight PCs. So big thank you to Ted and Silver Knight for sponsoring the channel here in 2025. They have been powering every video you've seen on my channel for the past 6 years. And that sends us to Blossoming Valley for game number 3. The map choice of the Stealth GLA in the south. This is Staz. Meanwhile, in the north, rocking the purple, playing the vanilla GLA. That's right, it's another almost mirror matchup. This is Excal. You already know that, of course. Looking for his 6th World Series Finals appearance. But, as you may have already noticed from the bracket, it is a stacked top 8. And whoever wins this series will go up against the winner of Marakar and, I believe, TumStep? I'm pretty sure that's what the matchup is, and those are not easy appearances. I mean, we could end up getting the finals of the 2024 World Series in the semifinals of the 2025 World Series, which will be quite an amazing series as well because it is quite long. It'll be at least a best of 13, so it'll be nice to see. But we also do have Stazz's map choice, Blossoming Valley, and another very GLA-ish mirror tech coming in on both sides of the map. Tech Terror, possibly. What has he actually got inside of here? A couple of RPGs will be able to put the hurt on this tech. Oh, he's just going for the crush. He wasn't actually going for anything. Meanwhile, on the south side, it is going to be one Terror to blow up that building, and then the tech to get all of the other kills. On the north side, once again, Staz moving in. That's a full 5 technical or terrors inside. Ends up losing his tech as well. And Excal trying to escape through the middle of the map. He's down to like 20% HP, but he's got a far enough lead that he will escape. Excal almost losing that arms dealer. Another arms dealer will be added on by Excal in the north. He is currently sitting up a bit higher on economy. Rebuild of the barracks in the south to help block that off. And Excal is actually back here. He's here for more. Once again coming in, this time with the technical. We'll be able to pause the building and will force the cancellation of that building. So goodbye to that structure. And the technical might escape. If he actually escapes from here, this will be a mental buster for Staz. It'll be so annoying to end up losing to that technical, but the worker gets shut down as well. Excal and Staz here in a best of 13 and starting it off with a 1-1 map score. Always good to see a player going up against a player to the caliber of Excal and not just getting completely swept by them, at least putting up a fight, putting some points on the board. I thought there was going to be some RPGs popping out, but no, for the current moment, that technical, who's so close to death, will manage to escape off to the left side, gets caught by the quads, and goodbye. Quads can pick up the scrap as well, so nicely done there by Excal. Gets the scrap, has a couple of tunnels in the middle of the map, going to be taking the supplies on the right side. Building is here, tunnel network there in almost the middle of the map for Staz. More technicals coming in. Excal, he may have had an even trade for that first map, but he's looking to assert his dominance in game number 3. First quad ends up going down, or first tech ends up going down, excuse me, to the quads as Staz gets that scrap as well. He's starting to build his way towards a hero super tech, which can win you games on its own strength. RPGs pop out. That might be a dead quad if he sticks around in this fight for much longer. Tunnel will be denied as well. The quad actually might get a kill on this tech. Excal rolling in. Goodbye to that oil derrick. No capture bonus for Staz as Excal just cleans it up. So that's a lot of terrorists traded for, in some ways, no value, but it's the denial of future value from Staz. Toxin Tractor comes out, takes a lot of damage, but will survive. RPGs have to get out of the building, and the Rebel will end up going down. The Toxin Tractor gets eliminated, and goodbye to the Super Tech. That goes down as well. Everything inside will slowly get cleaned up, and that's a fully heroic tech from Excal. Staz, I don't think he wants this game to go on long. The idea of fighting Excal, even if you're playing Stealth General, but the idea of fighting GLA Excal just sounds terrible. He's going to have tunnel networks all over. He's taking over the economy in the middle of the map. He's trying to leech long-distance harvest even these supplies in the middle. It won't even be long-distance harvesting because he's just building another supply center there, and Staz needs to shut that down. Fortunately, Excal hasn't run away with it yet. He's floating 7K. Excal is up 3K per minute in resources gathered, and he's up 4K in terms of army value, but that can still be turned around by Staz. However, as I said, I do think the longer the game goes on, in general, Excal will have the advantage, being the player who has more wins, who has the winning history, who does have an incredible macro record, and gets the kill on the technical as well, so goodbye to that. Tunnel network will be established here on the right side. As I said in another video, playing against GLA stealth is kind of a nightmare, or at least I think so. But obviously, Excal is very familiar with all of their tricks. He's familiar with how to beat them. And given that he's playing this matchup, I think he would even be comfortable if he ends up having to trade this one 1-to-1 with the Stealth General. But Excal is obviously a player who can win with anything against anything. So he may end up taking both sides of this matchup, the GLA vanilla side and the stealth side. Palace is up. Markets on the way. Scud Storm here as well. Big quad pop from Excal in the middle of the map. This is where he can use that bigger army value, the faster presence of the battle buses to burst down the front door, and this just guarantees him that middle of the map supply that much longer. Tunnel Network's going to be buying some time. Scud Storm, as long as it buys time, no, he's not even going to fight it out. Staz just taps out, and another Scud Storm comes in on top of it. Excal puts his second point on the board. Excal manages to get the first point on Blossoming Valley. But can he do it again, this time with the GLA Stealth, instead of just the vanilla GLA? You know, when you're playing these GLA mirrors, one of the nice advantages that Stealth has is the earlier hijackers. But what are you going to steal when you're hijacking a GLA player? You're like going to try and steal an early technical, or maybe a quad or something. It's just not the same as getting the hijacker out, stealing a dozer from USA or China. But we do have our first terror out on the field. A couple of terrorists coming out from Staz. Excal able to get the middle of the map supplies very early on and snowball that with the oil derrick, with the kill of his opponent's oil derrick, into a bigger and bigger economic advantage. And of course, Staz wants to do the same thing now on the north side. Beacon gets thrown down by Staz, so he did see where that tunnel was starting, and he does have the beacon to remind him of that tunnel's location. Trying to keep an eye on those tunnels from the GLA Stealth. Once again, we're going to have the technicals trading places. They have both gone for the veteran technical general upgrade right from the beginning. Tunnel coming in. Technical will deny that. There's going to be the crushes coming in. A couple of shots as well. And this is feeling very reminiscent. Of course, the colors are swapped from that game number 1, but it's very reminiscent indeed. Bop, bop, bop. Hey, that's some nice positioning. Look at that. He gets the kill that he was looking for. This is literally the repeat of game number 1, but better executed this time from Staz. There's the detonation from Excal. He gets the kill on the workers, and he's even going to be throwing out his own worker here as well. Going to be moving in amongst all of the workers of Staz. Technical running around. Tunnel network going to be deployed. Look at that placement from Excal. That is absolutely perfect. He has the worker essentially clipped through the supply dock so that he can build the tunnel from a protected location, forcing Staz to get rid of that other protected building. Tunnel tractor on the low ground helps clean out the buildings if there's anything inside of them. And okay, there are going to be the technicals going inside of that tunnel network and cancels whatever he was building there. Toxin Tractor doesn't go over to get the kill on the worker, though, so for the current moment, Excal, with his almost hero super tech, does have a problem that needs to be dealt with by Staz sooner or later. This is giving me flashbacks to that Hassan game where Excal just got incredible value with his super tech. He could actually go tier 3 by killing off that technical. There it is. He can even pick up the scrap as well. So if he wasn't a super tech, he would be now. That is what you are looking for in a GLA mirror or almost mirror, as we've got here. Tunnel coming in on the right side for Staz. What does he got inside of here? RPGs, terrors, just terrors? I kind of assume that it's terrors, but we'll see. Currently nothing. inside of there emerging. On the north side, it's going to be that hero technical with a couple of RPGs deployed to kill off that barracks. And Excal putting the hurt on to Staz up here in the north. He's looking to get his next win on Blossoming Valley, but of course it's not going to be easy. It might be easy with the use of this super tech, but it won't be free, as Staz is going to be putting up a fight regardless of what Excal does manage to get. Quads show up. This is a lot of RPGs from both sides, as Staz is going to try and burst down those quads, burst down that tunnel network on the south side of the map. The supply center ends up being eliminated, and there just isn't an easy fight here for Staz to take. He will go ahead and throw up another supply center there on the right side, and he will eventually get himself back to work. Arms dealer going to get targeted down. Excal finding the perfect angle for everything, and now he's going to try and run for the hills. He should be able to get away from these quads. Might take a little bit of pepper damage from the tunnel network. No, he's going to re-engage the quads, try and keep the technical out of range and actually get the kills, dodging and weaving, kiting away from the damage of the technicals. He does have to be careful because it is just a low health technical moving through the map. Excal escapes because of course he does, managing to get back into the middle of the map, managing to get to a safe place. Tunnel network will eventually be shut down here. RPG troopers, toxin tractor, and quads all moving into position, and GG comes out. Staz has been defeated. Excal once again up on economy, and Blossoming Valley, Staz's map choice, ends up being 2 wins for Excal. And as we load into Shiva's Paradise, the momentum is building, the ball is rolling in a very purpley direction, and looking to stop that momentum with the power of Rock V's, with an American flag swinging in the air, blowing in the breeze. This is Staz. And you might have the Rock V's this time, but he's going to have to fight the Rock V's next time. And on the south side, playing the vanilla GLA, this is, of course, Excal. You know him, currently looking for his 6th finals appearance in a row, which would be pretty incredible. 2020, he ended up losing to Boyka. 2024, he ended up losing to Marakar. And who knows? This year, he could be stopped in the quarterfinals by Staz. And maybe this 3-1 will turn into a 3-2. Couple of terrors, couple of RPGs into that tech. And where's he going to emerge? Is he going up in the north? He's going somewhere. In the middle of the map? Okay, so he goes right onto the low ground, into the middle of the map. Anyways, Staz looking to put that point on the board, looking to stop the momentum, and Worker hops out, sees the Humvee, gets right back in, and this tech has been spotted. Hellfire drone as well comes out, so Staz really wants to shut down this technical as quickly as possible. The Hellfire drone is more expensive than the other drones, and the technical will survive for just long enough. The terrorists get out, and the power plant goes down. There's the rebuild happening almost immediately as the RPG troopers head for the building, and they might even deny the the building gets broken open basically immediately. Those huts really are not very good, as it gets busted open immediately, and not even any rangers coming out. The worker ends up going down. No sneaky tunnel networks in the north for Excal. Staz, on the other hand, again, he spent extra cash on this Hellfire drone specifically to help shut down these technicals, to get that extra shot out. What is this technical doing? It's just hanging out in the south there. I keep expecting terrors or something to hop out of that tech and to blow something up. Missile defenders come in, they get the laser lock, and they shut down both of those technicals. The early movement from Excal, he snipes the power plant early, forces the rebuild, forces the low power mode of Staz. But then his next couple of technicals haven't been able to get anything done. If he can trade out with the Humvees, usually the GLA player is happy to do that. If you're trading out your technicals and your RPGs, getting those Humvee kills, stopping the Humvee snowball from building, Humvees can become such a death ball here in 0 Hour. But if the GLA player can trade out a lot of their early units to stop that death ball from rolling and forming, then they are generally happy with that. Excal hasn't been able to do that. That first Humvee getting tremendous damage, tremendous value, but then after that, not so much. Each successive Humvee or technical has been dealt with a bit easier and a bit easier. Staz, on the other hand, still tried to capture this one oil derrick. Both of these oil derricks being denied by Excal a number of times. Tech Repair Bay has been captured, however, by Staz. Any workers? He might not actually have any workers in these technicals. Okay, he's just going to move on in. Hoping to, I'm not sure what he's hoping to do. He's jumping into a big line of technicals. Is this a distraction for somewhere else on the map? A technical rolling through the middle of the map will end up killing off that missile defender, but that was just a bunch of technicals going down. He didn't kill many Humvees at all, if any. And Excal, he is going to continue expanding onto the low ground. Excal just losing a lot of techs there. This is going to be Strategy Center Online. Right around the 5-minute mark, we have got ourselves Search and Destroy added in. That's 4 terrors in the south running right for those oil derricks. They only get one, at least for the current moment. The other one is still standing. And this is a map with a decent amount of economy. Between the oil derricks, you've got sort of 4 that are all pretty easy to capture right outside of your base. Double Tech Repair Bay right outside of your base, meaning also these ones because of the early tunnel that is already placed there. So there are 4 oil derricks that are pretty accessible for both players. And Excal, one of his specialties is taking over the map, booming on economy, and then just swallowing more and more and more of the map. And of course, GLA is an amazing faction to do that with. Into that tunnel network goes the Humvee. He's going to try to escape for the current moment. And where are the reinforcements? They're down on the low ground for Staz. He's currently in low power mode as he adds on that command center, adds on the airfield as well, which is what actually sends him into low power mode. He hasn't added on or upgraded any additional power plants for the current moment. Technicals headed to the middle of the base, deep with something inside of them. Is he just going to be losing these technicals on the front door? He's just trades out. He gets one Humvee there. Maybe more. Okay, the upgrade did come in on the power plant for Staz, so he is back online in terms of power, and Staz will be able to shut down the tunnel network that was pre-built. We'll be able to get the oil derricks as well. And rocket buggies on to the high ground. They've had that upgraded buggy ammo for a minute now. They did, I think the first time I saw the buggies, they already had the upgrade. So Staz does have to deal with that additional buggy ammo. The burst from Excal is a bit stronger. When they've got those additional rockets, the volleys just last longer. And Quad coming in to clean up those missile defenders. Supplies incoming to the middle of the map. Every couple of minutes, I don't know, maybe it's 5. I guess it's around the 7-minute mark here for the first one. Not sure when the second one comes in, but they drop off these supplies in the middle of the map. 8 grand there, and then 8 grand in the south. So 16 grand every once in a while comes on into the middle of the map. So holding the middle of the map can be extremely powerful. Humvees step out into the middle of the map. There's the quads and the rocket buggies popping into this. Is this just going to be a death trap for the USA? Staz comes here to fight and finds a fight waiting for him. Missile defenders have been ejected out. They're going to get a number of kills as these rocket buggies move in to defend this location. That's another dead buggy, and quads coming in. They get the kill on almost every single one of those missile defenders, but Jarmankel has to get the cleanup. Jarmankel making his presence known. If Staz didn't spot him earlier, he has definitely spotted him now. Quad's going to be pushing away these Chinooks from harvesting on the low ground. 14K per minute for Excal. He's about to be floating 10 grand in the bank versus Staz. And I mean, it's never good to be floating 10 grand, but if you end up winning the game, then it sort of doesn't matter as long as your opponent isn't able to turn things around. Dozer gets sniped. Excal gets himself a Dozer and can build whatever he wants with it. 10 grand is a lot of stuff that you can construct with the Dozer. You only need to build the scaffold on the other side of the map, and then you can finish it with a worker of your own. So the Dozer may end up getting sniped. The Comanche comes out here. The Comanche goes down as into the middle of the map goes Staz once again. This was a death trap for him the last time he was here. Even with the presence of Pathfinders, it's not an easy victory for Staz. And a Stinger sight coming up. Rockvies are so good, but against a player like Excal, against a GLA who is prepared with quads and rocket buggies and a ton of tunnel networks, it is not a free win or a guaranteed victory by any means. Tunnel Network may actually does finish up there. That Dozer has so little HP, and the Comanche ends up going down. The Chinooks get pushed off of this supply. 13K per minute for Excal, 6K per minute for Staz. He is still fighting this one out. He's got his particle cannon online, but this is going to be a difficult comeback for the USA player. It's always possible if you've got Humvees alive, but the Humvees have been getting chipped away at. That army has been getting knocked down piece by piece for the last couple of minutes. Excal takes over the map and swarms Staz with GLA tunnels and units. Staz, things are getting dire. It's not over yet, but he needs to turn things around with the GLA in this matchup. Even with the additional cash that starts on this map, even with some kind of handicap applied to him, I wouldn't want to fight Excal with a bunch of Rockvies on any map. By the way, this is one of those maps where you do start with a little supply crate, a little bit of cash waiting around just outside of your command center. So this is a map where you start with 11 or 12.5k. I forgot to actually check how much cash is in there, but you've seen that on some of the other maps. Koju Okawa, the first game of this quarterfinal series, had the same feature built into it. So there's a little bit of extra cash to go around, which is why you see the players sitting at 2.5k per minute and above already at like the 1 minute mark. So yeah, it must have been a 2.5k crate. But as I said, when you're up against Excal, he's up 4-1, and then he's the player who gets Rockvies. It is certainly possible for Staz to win with the GLA, but I don't want to go up against Excal's Rockvies because I love playing with Rockvies, and I hate having to go against them. Chinook heading over to the right side of the map in a very menacing fashion. Staz moves over with his supply, with his technical, and that's a Humvee drop on top of the supply of Staz. It was nice knowing you workers, but for the current moment, you will get targeted down. Tunnel Network also going to be targeted here in the north by Staz, so he's looking to shut down those Chinooks. He's looking to shut down this Tunnel Network as well, and the Chinook going to be crashing into these units as the Humvees show up, but the Humvees get the crushes. Oh, both of the Chinooks end up going down, so Staz ends up getting both of the kills that he was looking for. Excal on the other side of the map will manage to escape with his when the Hellfire drone is on the outside, and currently there's nothing that shoots up. The quads haven't been produced yet, as it is mostly just technicals for the first few moments in this game. And this Hellfire drone just getting tons of extra damage versus all of these GLA forces. Okay, the quad will show up. Hellfire drone will get eliminated eventually here. Eventually it will go down. This quad is going to force the Chinook to drop, and this Humvee is going to get even more kills. So you killed 2 of my choppers, says Excal. I'm going to kill just a ton of your workers, and then the Humvee is going to try and escape from here, but the technical is on top of it. The quad as well, trying to shut off that escape route. Unfortunately for Staz, he does not have an easy start to this game number 6. Hoping to have a better opening as GLA. But for the current moment, he's staying even on economy with Excal. He has not been able to keep down those Humvee numbers. They are not upgraded with tow missiles. Once again, Excal foregoing quicker tow missiles for just having the bigger presence of army. He's got the Rock Vs. That's where 90% of the damage output is coming from. He's also upgraded a number of them with Hellfires, so he's got even more burst. Not as much as if he also had tow missiles, but as you can see by him killing off this arms dealer in about 3 seconds flat, he doesn't need extra burst. When you've got this much USA firepower, it just doesn't matter. The terrors get denied. The GLA hull will be eliminated. The quads pop out, but the quads just die. Excal dancing perfectly on the edge of range there, and the beacon gets dropped down. Staz has to make this fight work. Pretty much right here, right now, he needs massive kills versus this USA player inside of his base, messing up everything for this GLA. Palace getting shut down. Goodbye to the rocket buggies. Goodbye to the hope of a battle bus or anything else. Humvees, they will actually burst down that technical extremely quickly. More technicals being eliminated, and the Palace will actually finish up. If only there were RPG troopers inside of it, they just go down. Technical gets cleaned up, and what a play here by Excal. He got the numbers, he got that 4+ Humvee ratio, and then he is just set up inside of Stazz's base. GG gets called, and Excal goes up 5-1. He is looking for a semifinals appearance, and he is not going to let anyone stop him. We're back on the map choice of the player who is currently down in points, playing the Cyan, rocking the GLA demo. Give it up for Staz. And causing him to have a bad day is, of course, the purple USA Air Force in the south. I hope you like Rock Vs, because we've got another USA versus GLA matchup. This is Excal. But the economy is not going to be as crazy here on Vendetta, Stazz's map choice, than it was on Shiva's Paradise. There's a lot of cash to be had on Shiva's Paradise. Here, you do have a quote-unquote third supply here. It's not a full supply dock, as we talked about many other times, and you do also have some oil derricks there. Third supply split on the left side of the map, right in the middle for these players to contest. Dozer does not get the crush on the worker on the tunnel in the middle of the map. Staz is getting very close to having his back against the wall. The first map trades evenly, 1-to-1. Staz on even footing with Excal after those basically USA mirrors. In the end, Excal wins everything after that. Staz hoping to disrupt that once again. Humvee getting dropped in the north. Excal, he had great success with this in just that last game. You can't really blame him for it, but it's going to be a fast quad from Staz. The adjustment made once again by Staz to help shut this down that much quicker. He is also playing GLA demo instead of just GLA vanilla. So there are lots of little differences here between these two games. Hellfire drone does survive for the current moment. That's a dead Humvee. That's a dead Hellfire drone. Extra $500 spent on the Hellfire drone. Now down the drain. Much better opening here for Staz by comparison, but this is also a lower economy map, so doing damage to the economy can be a bigger deal when you've got less to work with. Another Humvee coming out here on the right side. Staz posturing on the south side of the map. RPG troopers and a couple of quads here on the left. Ambo showing up, going for the crush. Gets one, gets two, no more than that. Missile Defender is going to be moving in. Laser Lock comes in. Staz will step forward. He gets the kill on the Missile Defenders. As he trades back, both of the quads go down. And now the power of the Air Force is shown. The Missile Defenders may have fallen, but the RPG Troopers can do nothing against the power of the laser zapping Chinooks. Humvee in the north causing more problems for Staz. He has got his points to consider, and that terror is not going to help him get on the board. He is, of course, going to be able to play the other side of this matchup. Win or lose here, we've got another game to get to. Tunnel back into the tunnel go those GLA units. Staz almost managing to get a tunnel onto the kind of high ground here on the left, which would have been fantastic for him. Excal continuing to cause problems for Staz, and it is 5k per minute versus 2.7k per minute of Staz. And when the GLA player is down on economy and a Humvee is just driving through their supply lines, it is not a good state to be in. USA, you know, they can have some economy problems, but as long as they are able to get up to that big death ball of Humvees, then you can never count a USA player out. Missile Defenders get a laser lock, but it's not good enough as the quads clean out this base. They make safe the lands of the GLA, and Staz is here to have a fighting chance in this game number 7. It's a new map, it's a new matchup, and he has a new problem to deal with. He's dealt with the first couple of attacks coming through, but now as we approach the 5-minute mark, we have also got 5 Humvees and Ambo moving out through the middle of the map. I think it's now been completely spotted by Staz, so he just needs the perfect engagements, which is a difficult thing to get against a player as skilled and experienced as Excal. The tunnel network gets shut down, so no quick pop of the quads to be able to get up close and personal with these Humvees. On the south side of the map, Staz starting to engage with Excal. Terrorists don't get the detonation. Everything gets denied by Excal, and Staz is forced to sell off in the north. Search and destroy being added into the mix as well as Staz steps forward and does some damage. He's able to put something in the ground, but is it enough to really stop the gigantic ball of Humvees in the north? It's feeling dire for Staz as the Humvees close in the south. He's got himself a fully heroic quad, and it goes down. The GG comes out as Staz has been defeated. Excal puts another point on the board, bringing himself that much closer to the semifinals. Excal puts another point on the board, and Staz is basically fighting for his life from this point forward. We are in a match point scenario for the purple multi-time world champion. Staz has put up a good fight in many of these games, coming close, but in the end, the map score is what it is. Excal, he has a lot of space to just goof around and do anything that he wants. And of course, after this, we do go to Excal's map pick as well. So we go to AKA's Magic, which is an Excal map pick. And so win or lose here, Excal is going to be feeling good about that next game. I guess he's going to be feeling really good if he wins here and he doesn't have to play that next game. But even if he does have to play that next game, who knows what the matchup is going to be, but the map will be one that Excal likes. Dozer is going to end up trapped, hoping to get the crush on these RPG troopers. They're going to run. Terrace is going to try and trade places. Playing Ring Around the Rosie with this Dozer as Staz is hoping to get the crush on the workers, and if he can't do that, he's hoping to, I guess, not die pointlessly. As the Humvee shows up in the middle of the map, will help to get the kill on this terrorist. Dozer goes down. RPG troopers get the kill that they were looking for, and Staz is down to just one Dozer now. Humvee gets the kill on everything. There's the shutdown of the workers. RPG troopers get a couple of shots off. They break the drone. They send it packing home. And this other dozer is pretty well defended. He is hidden inside of a big group. And the scrap is actually denied there by Staz. So he does not allow Excal to get that. He's got the veteran technicals right from the beginning of the game. Pretty common upgrade if the GLA player is expecting the games to be pretty short. There's no point in saving that general's point for something later on. You get the bonus right here in the beginning of the game where often things are decided. Tech is going to be heading back. Beacon gets deployed. He marks the position of that demo trap, and the advanced demo traps can do so much damage against any vehicles, but once again the economy of the GLA player is being stunted by the Humvee plays of the USA player. And in this case it is Staz finding a bit of success, managing to get the better economy, and the repair is coming in nice and early. That's going to be a dead supply. No, it's not. Okay, there's the last detonation. I wasn't sure why the third guy didn't blow up, but at the current moment, the supply is down. The dozer has survived. The war factory can be rebuilt by the USA player, and the GLA has to deal with this big group of Humvees rushing through the middle of the map. Staz, he has got himself the USA side of the matchup, and he is crushing the GLA front line with the use of these Humvees. There's nothing inside of that technical as he was just produced and sent on to the front line. The terrorist doesn't respond in time, and Excal trying to salvage this game by doing something on the south side of the map. The attack from Excal came at the 5-minute mark in the previous game. Staz hits at the 4-minute mark. Barracks going to be shut down, and now the Chinook coming in as well. That's going to be a dead supply. That's going to be a dead barracks as well, and he might even get the shutdown on that demo trap. There's going to be the dozer in the north. The security lesson, or the security measure here for Staz. He's got a bit of insurance. It's a power plant in the north that will keep him in the game and keep his Humvees alive and kicking. Chinook's over here on the left side. Supply stash there on the left side as well. Workers getting shut down. Only 3 workers left actually for the GLA. And they're all 3 over here. And of course, he does still have supply stashes, so rebuilding those workers is not a big deal at all. But getting the kill on this dozer gets harder and harder when you don't have a lot of units. And right now, Excal doesn't have a lot of units. He does, however, have a couple of critical demo traps placed. And this one by Staz, or by Excal, could have eliminated Staz's army if he drives into the wrong spot, if he doesn't react fast enough. Another demo trap getting stopped, but another demo trap has been created, and Excal looking to cross the map. Staz might just lose it all right here. It's just an RPG inside. Missile defenders go down, and that's a fully stacked heroic technical from the side of Excal, and he's gonna get the shutdown on whatever gets built out of this barracks. Excal gets the kill on the quad in the middle of the map. Staz running around with another Chinook there on the right side. Staz heads into the middle. He's going to get the shutdown on that tunnel network. Excal in the north. The barracks gets eliminated. Excal hunting everything that Staz has. Staz still has a dozer hidden away in one of these Chinooks, I think, or maybe it's over there on the right side in that guy. Excal going to just shred all of these Rangers with the use of that hero quad, and it's going to be a hero Humvee versus a hero quad. Into the northern edge of the map goes that quad. Demo trap on the left side again could be absolutely massive here. And I guess if the USA hides their Chinooks over in the corners of the map, you can't do anything about it. The pilot actually survives, so he can go ahead and pass that veterancy along to another one of the Humvees. Tech coming in, fully heroic, stacked up Tech, looking for the supply as well, or looking for the... Gets the supply center. power plant gets constructed just in time. Staz stays in the game, fighting for his absolute tournament life on the line. He's holding off with these Humvees, a barracks now being added on as well. Excal with the supply stash on the south side of the map with these random demo traps spread around the map. Any location could be death for Staz, but Excal hasn't gotten so lucky just yet. Staz pushing around, and I guess that's actually more reflective of the state of the game as the demo trap gets flown over there by that Chinook. The Humvees have left the safety of that top left location, and there's the dozer. It is a dozer indeed. Oh! Right on the edge, the Humvee, fully heroic, ends up going down, hands the veterancy over, and that's going to be another barracks deployed here for Staz. He's only got $700 in the bank. The workers end up getting shut down. There's only one GLA worker on the map for Excal. And this building going down, what does Excal actually have left? He's got $2 grand in the bank. The terrorist ends up falling, and Excal doesn't have a lot of space left to himself on this map. Worker ends up getting spotted. Demo trap a little bit too far south for the current moment. Humvee's hoping to close in on this tech, and they do spot the demo trap. The terrorist gets eliminated. The technical isn't able to bait those Humvees driving into that demo trap. And once again, the dozer will avoid detection, avoid deletion, and Staz avoids elimination in this game. Staz gets the win, and Excal is defeated. I hope you're feeling the magic, because we are here on AKA's Magic for game number 9. And he might be feeling a little bit nervous after losing that nail biter. But in the north, playing the purple, this is Excal. He's rocking the USA laser. Meanwhile, on the south side, the cyan, playing the vanilla China. This is Staz. Coming into this matchup, I do feel a little bad for Staz being at match point, about to be potentially eliminated from the tournament, and he has to play the vanilla China side of this matchup. Maybe it turns out that he's able to win the game, but if he loses here, he doesn't get a chance to win with the USA side of the matchup. So that is one of the downsides of this particular format. But then at the same time, you know, Excal would be up 7-2 in this series. So Staz needs to keep putting points on the board. As I mentioned in the last game, this is elimination point for the rest of the series for Staz. He has to get 4 more points on the board, I guess 3 more after this game, to take us all the way to the ace match and to that final deciding mirror matchup. Meanwhile, Excal just needs to get that one final point on the board. Double oil derrick in the south, 2 oil derricks just outside of your front door, and no sneaky hijackers to steal a dozer on this kind of a map. You do also have these supplies at the back of your base, so there is a potential of a lot of cash out on this field. Helix right out onto the map straight away from the China player, and this is a Gatlix as well, so I believe the Helix costs 1,500. The Gat upgrade costs 1,200. This is a massive amount of cash spent right at the beginning of the game on this Helix, which is already down to half HP. So Excal, he wants to shut that baby down, and of course Staz wants to keep that very expensive unit flying for as long as possible. Dozer doesn't end up dying. Dozer actually builds a barracks on top of getting the oil derricks and the power plant there in the corner. Excal also a barracks set up in the corner. Humvees now with their tow missile upgrade heading out across the map. And meanwhile, Staz, he has got himself a troop crawler or troop transport onto the map, and it is gone already. So all of the Red Guard inside do survive. They're going to chase away the Humvee for the current moment. But double barracks in the main base and strategy center on the way for Excal, just past the 3-minute mark, and it's already on the way. Search and destroy will be up and running very quickly for the USA laser. And Excal doesn't want to let the momentum start to shift. Even if he has confidence in himself to win the ace match, to clutch it out in the end, when you're down, when you're up 6-2, you do not want to let it slip away. But that first point has already been put on the board by Staz. The comeback is beginning as the MiG strike finds all of those missile defenders, and the Red Guard are just going to try and put as much damage into this tower as they can. They may end up clearing out the middle of the map, but that is not the highest value moment for the China player. This is buying potentially a lot of time. He's also keeping an eye on this Humvee army. MiGs get another strike. That's another dead Humvee that the China doesn't have to worry about after this. Another Humvee taking a lot of damage. Does eventually burn down as well. So that's 2 dead Humvees from that moment. Search and destroy gets initiated, and now a command center will be added on into the mix. Coming back online as another Humvee gets cleaned up. Staz starting to chip away at this USA army, and Staz is also up very slightly in economy. Not a big deal, and of course we've seen the power of Humvees in lots of games in the past, but that's 2 more dead Humvees. Wow, that last strike, are you kidding? Those missiles just do not miss. Those MiGs getting so close to escaping, and I'm going to guess that he does not have the MiG armor upgrade. No, he does not. So he does have Black Napalm. He doesn't have the MiG armor upgrade. If he would have gotten that MiG probably would have survived. He would have had 2 on the deck instead of just 1. But Humvee's coming out to the front line. Gats get sent forward to die, it seems like, as this is a lot of Humvees for Excal. Basically 12K worth of Humvees. The missile defenders inside of them, the tow missiles on top of them, the spy drones packed along with them. Corner of the map solidly in the control of the USA player. Artillery platform as well added on. And actually the USA is going to try to expand up into the top left-hand corner. Excal once again trying to do what he does best. Swallow the map, big eco, big macro, big shutdown on his opponent as the Gats get caught and traded back. I guess it's not even really a trade because the Humvees are still pushing forward. 14 grand worth of Humvees. The spy drone's taking a little bit of damage here. MiG's coming in. There's the split. 2 Humvees will pay the price for it. 1 MiG will go down. Gats moving forward. Gats will find at least 1 kill. No, they won't. They don't find any. 4 Gats get swallowed by the Humvees as Excal swallows Stazz's tournament chances. Staz is out of the 2025 World Series in the same quarterfinals match versus Excal that he has lost before. Excal maintains his dominance in 0 hour. But that's not the end of this video. We have another quarterfinal to get to. And wouldn't you know it, by the choice of these players as well, we are on Koju Akawa for game number 1 yet again. On the left side, he is liking this map. This is the current defending world champion. This is Marakar. And looking to challenge him, looking to stop the world champ in his tracks. This is the Vanilla GLA. Give it up for TumStep. TumStep and Marakar met in the 2024 World Series quarterfinals, this exact same spot. And of course, as you can probably guess, because Marakar is the defending world champ, Marakar won that series, but only barely. So TumStep came within one game of defeating Marakar and completely stopping his World Series run last year. Much like this supply truck is going to stop these GLA workers from doing anything, the workers are not able to block off that truck, and in he goes. Tunnel network coming up in the middle of the map. Supply truck will eventually go down. Lots of good crushes coming in from the supply truck. This is hurting the GLA economy, and because this map does start you off with an additional 2.5k, this is not much loss for the China player. Scrap is actually denied as well, as this nuclear battlemaster takes the place of that supply truck. Right from the beginning, we have a bit of chaos being sown in this game. Radioactive shells are going to make this a dangerous place to gather resources. And on the left side of the map, spotting the airfield coming up as well. This technical is crossing over. Nuclear Battlemaster's showing up. Scorpion is here. He's got the upgraded rockets already, and it is going to be double Nuclear Battlemasters once again trying to deny the supply lines of the GLA. Those in-process buildings not able to block out the incoming China units and not able to save the supply lines of the GLA. Radiation poisoning the ground where they stand, the ground where they work, as Marakar is looking to start this game up with not only another scrap deny, but with a bit of chaos and disruption to the GLA economy. Marakar currently sitting at 7.2k per minute. TumStep, he is down below 5k, but of course that is going to be climbing. He's got the double oil derrick in the south. He's got a rebel standing by in the north. The building gets cleared out. Quads are going to try and commit into this attack. With the Scorpion rockets, they can clean up these Dragon tanks a lot more quickly. Marakar letting a Battlemaster just end up dying right there, but also the first Helix has now popped out. That's going to be a dead quad if he doesn't get back in the tunnel, and he does not. RPG Trooper grabs that building, so he is going to get a little bit of damage onto these units as they cross this map. More and more tanks coming in. Again, shutting down the supply lines of the GLA, and into the corner goes that Helix. The quads are going to chase that Helix into the corner, but the Battlemaster is going to get a big damage onto these quads. One more shot might just be enough to do it, and the quad ends up falling. Marakar with an amazing opener here in game number 1. Koju Akawa, when you're in the quarterfinals, a rematch of last year in your Marakar, you don't want things to turn out any different. But win or lose, whoever comes through this series is going to have a massive semifinals ahead of them. Whoever it is, it's going to be against Excal in that semifinals, and Marakar could be at a rematch of the last year's World Series final in that semifinal if he's able to defeat TumStep here. And TumStep goes from the current world champ to the current, like, 5 times world finalist Excal. So TumStep has an incredibly difficult schedule ahead of him in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals, and then of course he has to face potential world champ Boyka on the other side of the map, on the other side of the bracket. As more and more of these Battlemasters come in, the quads jump inside of that tunnel network. Double Helix are going to be able to shut down these supplies. TumStep absolutely fighting for his life in this game. His economy has never gotten fully online without being dunked on by these tanks, supply trucks, dragons, helixes, everything from the China player pouring onto the GLA side of the map. Marakar wants his green color back. TumStep is denying him that use of the green color for the current moment. Supply trucks in the north. As the GG comes out, TumStep has been defeated. Big economy from Marakar wins the day. And of course, we're on Koju Akawa for the reverse. Marakar up with that 1 point. But now, the tools of radiation are in the hands of TumStep. TumStep is a very good player regardless. Oh my gosh, look at all of these buildings coming in. Marakar is like, I am not going to have what I just did to you. I'm not going to have it happen to me. And when you've got that extra 2.5k at the beginning of the game, you can do this kind of stuff. So I love it from Marakar. Well, he's trying to stop what he just did to his opponent, stop it from happening to himself. But TumStep is not actually going for that same kind of a strategy. There is no early supply truck crossing the map. For the current moment, there is no super fast airfield just yet. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see an airfield from the China player, but at the current moment, it is being delayed by comparison. And okay. Red Guard starting to spread around the map. Nuclear Battlemasters starting to spread around the map. They are quick boys for sure. Bunker gets grabbed. There were at least a couple of terrorists produced by Marakar, so he will potentially be sending them in if he's trying to go for the kill on anything. Well, that's going to be a worker just hanging out in the base of TumStep, and the RPG Trooper trying to get a kill before he himself gets eliminated. Another technical shows up. Early mines from TumStep. One of the things Marakar has to worry about is those China mines, and when you've got the extra 2.5k at the start of the game, you can afford mines on a couple of your buildings and still play your build out completely normally. Airfield now being added on for TumStep. Marakar, he was able to cause a lot of chaos and confusion to the early game of TumStep, and TumStep has not been able to do that same thing. But he also hasn't really tried. This is the first unit which is crossing the map in a significant way here for TumStep. He's had that Red Guard on the hunt from earlier in this game. Technical in the north will end up being shut down there by TumStep. Marakar, no free kills there. And the decoy building does end up going down. It's a fake structure. It can still take a couple of real shots from a tank. But, you know, not a lot of real shots from a tank. Terrorist ends up going down, and building will be slowed down. The palace will be delayed by the presence of this tank. TumStep delaying that GLA tech from coming out as quickly as it could. Building does get the block there, so no tank to cross into the supply lines of Marakar. 7k or nearly 8k for the GLA versus the 10k of the China. Slower eco from the GLA in both games, and the terrorist ends up just getting caught on the RPG troopers there, will end up falling to the radiation. And well, quads pop out, and they're going to have to chase away this Bunkerlix, but that's never a fun thing to see as the GLA player. That first Bunkerlix crossing the map, putting out crazy amounts of rockets and damage. Another supply in the middle of the map in the north going to be taken by TumStep. In the south, it's going to be taken by Marakar. So he's hoping to keep his economy alive and thriving for the GLA. Stinger Sight gonna help hold back this Helix for the current moment. TumStep is starting to push in on a couple of different fronts. Palace still has not finished up, and it might be denied yet again here as the Helix manages to escape with just a little bit of HP, and the worker does get killed off yet again. The Palace is denied. TumStep putting some serious damage out onto the board. Dragon tank steps forward. Quads are here to meet it, and the Dragon will stop that worker from building the tunnel just in time, and the quads will stop the Dragon from doing too much more beyond that. Eventually, the Palace will finish up for Marakar, but it does take a lot to actually get it up and running. TumStep pushing forward. Marakar, he's up to a 2-star rating, and I have to imagine TumStep is about to cross that threshold as well. Double tunnel network getting shut down here. Supply stash in the south as well, under threat, but still standing for Marakar. Oil refinery rather has been captured. Oil derricks have been captured by both sides. No sneaky tunnels for the GLA onto the left side of the map, at least not just yet. Tank rushes forward. Doesn't quite get the splash on to these RPG troopers, although they may end up just walking forward into the radiation. We'll see. And that's a lot of helixes. That's a lot of quads as well, but the helixes all escape for the current moment. Stinger Sight also here on the front line. There's going to be the sell-off of that supply stash as more tunnel, as more tanks come to the front line. And again, no tunnel networks anywhere on the left side of the map for Marakar. He does not have that advantage yet as the GLA player. He is corralled inside of his base, which is going to be making TumStep feel a lot better about his position. He is up nearly 10k per minute over his opponent. ECM does end up getting sniped. Quads will pop on out. Helixes are not here to help fight this off. This is the tanks by themselves. They're just waiting this one out, trying to buy more space for the China player. Dozer may end up getting sniped, or Jarmankel will just have to avoid detection for the current moment. ECM also getting very close to that Jarmankel, but nothing is happening just yet. Battle Bus steps forward. Helixes have returned from the north, and there's going to be the Dozer sniped immediately by Jarmankel. He steps inside, he goes down, and then back into the tunnel they go. ECM going to try and put the quads to sleep as this China army steps forward. Oil derricks are easy targets to help shut down the economy of Marakar. Something you don't want to be fighting against is a big economy of Marakar, and TumStep is the big eco boy in this game with his 5k in his bank. And well, it is nice to have the GLA power online. If your name is Marakar, you need to stop this army so you can actually benefit from the boosted production times and having that benefit of power online for the GLA player. Hulls will end up going down for the current moment. Oil refinery does stand. A couple of upgrades coming in, stabilizing isotope nationalism as well. Artillery barrage will fire off as that command center has come back online for the China. The GG comes out, the tap out by Marakar. It's a 1-1 to start out this series as well. TumStep will make this an even set right here from game number 2 onward. There will be no clean sweeps. And as we come to AKA's Magic for our second map of the series, this quarterfinals, we can always hope that it will go the distance yet again. But both of these players have, just like the other series, already done all of their map choices. So we are now playing on the territory of the Green USA in the north. This is TumStep, and he has chosen this map. Meanwhile, in the south, playing the GLA Toxin, it's Dr. Thrax. This is Marakar. So yeah, the map choices can swing back and forth like we saw in that last series. It can sometimes be a bit of a problem for one of the players. Nice protection for that Dozer, at least for the current moment. You can always airlift him out if you want. But it is Vanilla USA versus GLA Toxin, and we're early enough in the series that no matter how these games go, both players will get the opportunity to play both sides of the matchup. First Tech is out, moving across the map. And even though Marakar did win this series the last time these guys played last year, because it was such a close series and because right now it is completely even, TumStep definitely does feel like he is here to play and he is here to have a good time. He may not be the current defending world champ, but he is not a stranger to this level of competition, although he has never made it past the top 8 in the World Series, just like Staz. He is up against a world champion looking to break into the semifinals for the first time. It's a tall order, but again, TumStep is a very good player. He has played and beaten these guys in the past, just, you know, maybe not in the World Series. He's not quite able to make it happen in that kind of a place. building will be cleaned out. Rangers hop inside, and everybody gets inside the technical, and they go for a ride. They manage to escape. That was like such perfectly done. That was perfectly done by both players. Building gets taken by Marakar. TumStep clears it out. Marakar evacs everyone and gets them all to safety, and then starts building the tunnel on the other side of the river. Pretty much perfect decision-making, perfect choices by both players, and that is what you love to see. Rockv's roaming around the map. Corner has been taken a little bit here by Marakar. Obviously, it's not totally under his control, but he's got the first step towards controlling that part of the map. GLA, they can spread into the corners, take this double supply up there, and spread their tunnel networks as far as the eye can see to take over more and more of this map. Terrorist will end up going down, or rather, Technical will end up going down, but of course, Toxin Rebels can easily clear out buildings. You don't need the Toxin Tractor to be able to make those buildings your home instead of their home. And also, Toxin Rebels are just surprisingly good versus units, versus vehicles in particular. Rockets coming out. They will be able to clean up a couple of these Humvees. And this is a lot of RPG troopers on the ground, making short work of these USA forces. Tower will fall. Nothing gets crushed under it, at least not for the current moment. The other tower could fall on the other side of the map and crush something in a very fun way. We'll see if that actually ends up happening. Ambo going for the crush, gets 3-4 of those RPG troopers. 5, 6, 7! TumStep is going crazy! And he gets all 8! Everyone goes down. That Ambo is a hero, and TumStep manages to find that his strongest fighter isn't even the Rockvies. It's this one Ambo who's, I guess, now going to just die to the double Toxin rockets there. No, he survives! The Ambo survives! TumStep manages to keep that Ambo rolling for even longer. Dozers can be sniped as always with the help of the GLA. We'll see if that ends up coming to play here. But for the current moment, it's Rockvies roaming around the map. The herd has been thinned out once or twice, but TumStep is hoping to keep this side of the map nice and safe. Marakar starting to take over more and more of the map. The corners belonging more and more to the GLA, more so than the USA. Another oil derrick will end up going down. The weakened oil derricks early targets on both sides. Humvees shooting up this one. GLA terrorists knocking down the other one. Humvees roaming through the middle. Missile defenders will pop on out. Barrels get lit up as those techs go down. Another terrorist, or another technical, crossing the right side of the map, gets the Ranger who was hoping to capture that building. And that's a lot of terrorists. That's 2 dead Humvees. That's thinning the herd for the GLA player. He is hoping to deal with as few Humvees balled together as possible. TumStep doesn't. If TumStep gets rolling, then it becomes so much harder to deal with. Humvees stepping forward. Rocket buggies are out on the map. That's another dead Humvee as Marakar locks down a couple of these units. The oil refinery is going to be captured by TumStep, but Marakar just wants to shut this location down. He can obviously kill off that oil derrick pretty darn quickly, pretty darn easily. As the rocket buggies step forward, laser lock comes in, does get one of them, not the other one. More and more Humvees coming out, more and more tunnel networks being added on by the GLA. The endless dance continues. USA with their Rockvies, GLA with their tunnel networks. oil derricks under the control of Marakar. He's at 11k per minute. But again, if the USA gets the death ball, if the USA gets that critical mass, it doesn't matter how much income you've got per minute, because the USA can become an unstoppable avalanche of rockets that is flying towards your face. And of course, tons of tunnel networks helps to deal with that, helps to mitigate that. Search and Destroy is an incredible upgrade for these Rock Vs, and AP ammo, or rocket ammo, is good for the buggies as well. 3 dead Humvees, 4 dead rocket buggies on the GLA side of the map, but Marakar is going to be happy to make that trade again. If he can cut down those USA forces, he can buy more time. There's the snipe coming in. RPG troopers are not needed as the Jarmenkel gets the kills and gets the rank up as well, going fully heroic in that little exchange, just finding the couple of kills that are needed before the reinforcements come in. 2-star general rating for TumStep, so soon he will have access to Pathfinders if he wants them. Another snipe comes in, more missile defenders going down, RPG troopers on the front line. They don't have the Gamma rocket upgrade just yet, but, well, we might get there eventually for the GLA. Humvees are just setting up shop. They're happy to make themselves a home for the current moment. Jarmenkel getting more snipes. There's going to be 2 missile defenders dead, and even more as these Humvees get their pilot sniped out of them. Eject on the missile defender onto the front line as these tunnel networks are being chipped away at. So are the Humvee numbers of the USA player. He is down to just 2 Humvees on the front line here. He's got more and more coming out onto the front line or onto the field, but they're just not here to deal with this GLA force. I can't believe this oil refinery hasn't been cleaned up. I'm surprised that TumStep got this much value out of it. It's finally going to be going down as Marakar makes short work of that. Marakar has actually taken the one on the right side, so the one on the left belonged to the USA for at least a little while. Tow missiles have now been upgraded for TumStep, so he's got that additional firepower, and the command center is coming online as both players are up to the 3-star status. Gamma rockets have now been upgraded for the GLA Toxin. It's going to be even more damage done, and TumStep has been defeated. TumStep never got the big death ball rolling, and Marakar gets the win. And looking forward in this series, because we're on AKA's Magic for one more game, one more USA versus GLA, but then we move to Tiny Tactics. And of course, what I'm really hoping for is that we get all the way to Thermopylae, which is where that amazing Dr. Uncle or Drunkle versus Frosty Fire match took place. I'm hoping that we get to see that map again, but we have to get through a couple of other maps first. So Thermopylae is on the horizon here, as we will be going from AKA's Magic, which is Marakar's map choice, or TumStep's map choice, to Tiny Tactics, which is Marakar's map choice, and then to Blossoming Valley, Thermopylae, Black Hell, and then Oxygen as the decider if we go all the way. Marakar opening up with a 2-1 map score, again feeling reminiscent of that last series. In this case, defending world champ versus a guy who can make the top 8 but not the top 4 of a World Series, and starting out the series with a 1-1, and then the world champ puts another point on the board, and in the case of Staz versus Excal, that is where Staz basically stopped winning. Worker in the corner. Marakar hoping to... Is this Dozer just going to get sniped? Okay. Where's this terror going? So I noticed that Excal did this as well. Excal is here to secure the corner of the map, and Marakar is doing the exact same thing. Playing USA versus whoever, he wants to hold this double oil derrick in the corner. And the terror is coming back down to the south. Okay, for the current moment, the Dozer is going to head back up to the north. Marakar is not actually looking to take over the corner of the map. But that is one of those things that I did notice from a couple of players will really focus on getting the double oils in the corner, and Excal is one of them. Humvees are going to run into these techs on the left side of the map. No additional reinforcements to show up for the current moment from the GLA. Although a tunnel network is on the way, the worker will be killed off. The tunnel network will be denied. Up in the north is a couple of more RPG troopers, plus a fresh tunnel network about to finish up. So if the Humvees go up north, they may have more problems waiting for them. Technical goes down, gets low on health as he pops on out, and for the current moment, the Ambo is keeping these Humvees alive. One of them incredibly low on health, does need to be saved by his friends. The RPG Trooper will be denied there, as into the middle of the map goes this tech, and he does spot that Chinook crossing the map as well. What is here? What is the purpose of this? Reinforcements showing up. More and more Humvees onto the front line. These guys have fresh HP bars, and they're looking to knock on down the front door. Knock, knock, open up, says Marakar, as he has got these hot rock Vs roaming around the map, looking to end this whole GLA career. Missile defenders eject on out. Technicals will be able to deal with them one by one, but this is going to be a lot of dead techs. Not that many, actually. Do we have a Jarman Cal out on the map? No Palace just yet, I don't think, as the Technicals just have to clean up those missile defenders the old-fashioned way. Another Humvee going down. Marakar keeping up the pressure and will find himself up against these Technicals, kind of surrounded on both sides by the GLA. Missile defenders getting the laser lock. That's going to be a couple more dead techs. RPG troopers hitting back. They might find one more kill. No, not lucky enough to get the last shot before that Humvee goes down. The escape can happen. It's a tricky thing to go up against a world champ. TumStep is putting up a good fight, but again, he wants to stop the death ball from forming. Into the corner of the map goes the GLA once again. Terror gets the insta-kill on one of the Humvees. Reinforcements shows up for both sides as these Technicals get cleaned up one by one. The Humvees continue to stand tall. No super techs to kite and grab that scrap to try and turn the tide of the fight. Nice targeting of the elite Technicals there, or at least the attempt to target the elite Technical. Ends up trading one back as the Technical ranks up anyways. Humvees going down, two of them on exit, no, just one, as the fight continues, and Marakar hoping to thin the herd in a similar fashion. Again, another Technical gets the rank up. Just as one elite Technical gets eliminated by the USA player, another one gets a kill, gets a rank up, and manages to even things out again. GLA grabbing both of the oil derricks in the corner of the map, but it's a lot later here for TumStep than it was for Marakar. Army is rolling. TumStep is keeping his head above water, but only just. As if he takes one bad fight, then he is going to be in a bad spot, because this is a lot of burst damage from the Humvees, and with the ambulance, they have a pretty decent sustain as well. Oil derricks might just be bursted down here. Technicals, if they find the right angle, if they manage to pop, dodge, and weave in the correct way, then it can be a win for the GLA. But this USA Army hits, and it hits hard. It can 1-2 punch the GLA out of the game. Supply stash gets sold off. Stinger sight gets added on. And TumStep going to be taking the top left-hand corner of the map. Marakar hoping to take the bottom right-hand corner of the map. Search and destroy finally being activated by the USA. That's going to be a dead Technical. And for the moment, both players happy to let the game sit for a moment. Supplies drying up on the GLA side of the map. 11k per minute for TumStep. Marakar happy to play it out with a little bit less income at his disposal. As long as he's got that better army, he can be happy. Deep into enemy territory go these technicals. How many terrorists are inside of them? Bunch of RPG troopers on top of the strategy center. Reinforcements coming in for Marakar. Gonna find the angle to clean up this army, and that's just dead RPG troopers. The GLA is gonna have to run for the hills, and the Humvees manage to live out the night. They manage to survive. And a couple more shots landing against the techs, but they survive as well. So I guess TumStep got the scout, but really he just lost a couple of RPG troopers, and now he loses a technical on exit as well. There's going to be the pop as it happens. Worker goes down, RPG troopers go down, and now the Humvees can sit outside of this tunnel network and shut it down. Dr. Thrax will be sad to hear that he lost another toxin tunnel. Markets coming up. Gamma rockets should be upgrading for TumStep, as once he gets that Gamma Toxin upgrade, those RPG troopers and those rockets will hit a little harder. Oil derrick will end up going down, uncaptured by anyone, and TumStep holding off the USA for the current moment. Decent economy. There's the sneak into the base. Right as the command center finishes up, he gets the snipe on the dozer as well. So 0 dozers out on the field for TumStep. He's gonna have, or for Marakar, he's gonna have to spend the cash rebuilding the dozer, but the strategy center survives. No lucky kill on the Strat CC dozer combo. No such luck for TumStep. He's gonna have to fight this one out a little bit longer and more rely more on his economy, rely more on his tunnel pops. But he's got a pretty good setup here in the corner of the map. He's got the stinger sights, and he's got now access to those. Well, the battle bus ends up going down, and the Warthogs end up breaking open this front door. Humvees aren't going to rush in. With the tunnel networks down, there is an opportunity here. Colonel Burton was also somewhere on the front line. I'm not sure where he's made it off to, as the Humvees are coming back in, hoping to open up the front door. Gamma rockets have been upgraded, though, and the artillery platform going to be grabbed by the USA player. Perhaps the least of the advantages. No, it does get denied. One tech for the deny of that. Jarmankel will get a snipe off here, or will have the opportunity to get a snipe off, as the missile defenders end up going down, and that's going to be a dead Humvee if TumStep allows it. If TumStep wants to, he can kill off that Humvee. Buggy ammo comes in. USA find it harder and harder to engage with this GLA army. Will manage to pick off the technicals, but can't get the rocket buggies behind them, at least not just yet. Jarmankel has been revealed. Can go for another snipe very soon here. Another dead Humvee. Marakar does not have infinite money. He is down 20k in terms of resources gathered. Jarmankel being revealed yet again. Will get another snipe. And TumStep continuing to bully this USA Rock V army. They spot a dozer out here on the front line. It's repaired up this oil derrick to full health, but more technicals have gone down. And hey, Colonel Burton gets the knife into Jarmankel. Not something you see very often, is the commandos actually going at it directly. This is going to be a lot of dead buggies if Colonel Burton decides to open fire. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4. As Colonel Burton lights them up, the Humvees come in to knock them down. Colonel Burton gets his rank up. He goes fully heroic off of killing those rocket buggies. And that is the GLA army reset almost completely. Still a massive economy was driving the GLA, and we now have the presence of black markets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, number 5 is being added on as well. Always the possibility for more, and the USA doesn't have that same luxury. I don't even know if Marakar will choose to build supply drop zones at any point in this game. For the current moment, he's selling off his supply centers. He's trying to thin out his infrastructure so that he... Oh, another Humvee ends up going down, though, as the terrorists find their kills. And, yeah, so Marakar is thinning out his infrastructure to try and get as much cash back into his pocket as he can, because with the oil derricks out here on the front line, with supply drop zones being a difficult economic proposition, you do see them sometimes from the USA player, but most of the time you're better off building units with that cash rather than building supply drop zones with that cash. Although not always, sometimes it does end up working out. But black markets are just the easiest of the three kinds of secondary economy. Black markets are the easiest to pay for themselves. They're sort of the most robust with the GLA holes, and they have the quickest, or like the most, the best chance of paying for themselves and being a big benefit late into the game, whereas supply drop zones take a little bit more time. Tunnel falls, or tower falls rather. Warthog strike will come in, shuts down one of those fake buildings, and gonna be a little bit sad that he wasted a Warthog strike on a fake building, but Marakar obviously didn't know that or was wanting to stop it from being a real building, and will be able to cross the map there, get a couple of kills, and then back on off. Colonel Burton almost gets a kill on this technical, and the technical will drive right into these Humvees, and everything gets denied. The oil derrick is not taken down. That tunnel network ejects out a technical, and then the technical ends up dying, falling in the wrong spot, as the particle cannon uplink has been constructed. So in just under 4 minutes, we will get ourselves a particle cannon firebase being added on as well. Static D is not always a big favorite of China and USA. Obviously, GLA tends to build tons of static defense, partially because tunnel networks are just how they traverse the map, and partially because stinger sites are pretty good. But the other factions don't build as much as the GLA. Colonel Barton cleans up a couple of those buggies, gets more to his name. He may end up getting hunted by Jarman or by these quads if he reveals himself again. Humvees step forward. That's 3 dead Humvees on the front line, traded back for a quad or 2. Pilot's going to be surviving and will manage to get back into some more building, or some more units. Humvees on the front line. Fresh spy drone. As one gets sniped, it gets replaced by another. Another quad comes on out, and the spy drone actually isn't revealed by that, by the stinger site or anything. So for the current moment, he's safe. Colonel Barton getting another 2 rocket buggies, and the economy has fallen for both players. 2 oil derricks is what's keeping Marakar alive for the current moment. And, you know, that's enough to just get by. With the oil refinery, it's nice to have the reduced cost of vehicles as well, but that 2K per minute is basically never going to change for Marakar. Some USA players seem allergic to supply drop zones. Other ones are, you know, willing to build it. Maybe 1, maybe 2 supply drop zones. Although once you get the 1 out, it can be difficult to actually have the cash for the other one. Okay, so he does have a supply drop zone right there in the corner, and he is adding on another power plant as well. I guess it's unlikely they don't build a second supply drop zone. Cue the second supply drop zone. It's hard to justify spending more and more on the supply drop zones this late into the game. Tomahawk missile getting its shots off. Although he did for a moment have enough cash for another supply drop zone. Does end up spending it on something else. Battle bus rolling through. 1 minute until the particle cannon. Firebase at the front door will get the battle bus, get the conversion, and the dozer might end up getting sniped here. Firebase gonna fall maybe to these RPG troopers, but it has done its job. It has bought a huge amount of time for this USA player. Corner of the map no longer a big target for either player. All of the supplies are gone. Less than a minute on the particle cannon. 30 seconds as the Warthogs cross the map. They're looking to clean up another fake black market there. And we'll also get full scout. Well, not full scouting, but decent amount of scouting on that section of the map. Marakar is cozying up in this game. He's got his spy drone on the other side of the map. He's got a decent spread of spy drones all over the place to be his eyes and ears. Particle cannon is now ready. Rocket buggies find another target. Colonel Burton just waiting for someone to drive by him and cause a problem. Particle cannon on the other side of the map will find a palace, will go for the black market as well. Getting triple buildings here for one particle cannon is pretty darn good. Battle bus comes in. Battle bus finds the power plant upgraded. Now it's lights out for the USA as the Tomahawk missile finds its mark. Fresh power plant will be added into the mix. And yeah, just the one supply drop zone for Marakar. And if he loses the oil derricks, then it becomes even harder to build any of that secondary economy. He's happy to just play this one out from this point. Down to just 3 real black markets. 1 fake black market as well, which might be converting over. I'm not sure if TumStep is going to do that. Oil derrick is here. Tomahawk gets a shot off, cleans up one of the rocket buggies, nice and easy, and that's half of the income per minute basically gone for Marakar. He does still have 1 oil derrick. He does still have that supply drop zone. There's going to be a lot of dead workers. Guess you just run away. The workers are maybe going to slowly get cleaned up by Colonel Burton. They are buying some space for the GLA units to get around. Another rocket buggy is dead. That Tomahawk getting some nice shots off, finding the damage against the GLA forces. And that's another dead power plant for Marakar. He's going to have to put this army to sleep once and for all. The quad will escape out the back of the base, and the front line of the USA gets pushed a little further back with every strike from the GLA. Once again, TumStep is now down below 5K army again. He keeps spending his units, getting out what he can, getting out what value he can, but losing more and more every single time. But on the other side of the map, Marakar can't seem to step onto the GLA side of the map. He's got not a lot to be able to cross on over, but he can just wait and wait and wait. The particle cannon frozen just under 3 minutes as the power is going to come online very soon. But again, it is difficult for the USA player to get out anything consistently. Dozer comes out, 2 dozers out on the field, and terrorists get into the back of the base. That's 3 terrors on top of the supply center, on top of the strategy center, excuse me, as they get the kill. No more strategy center for the USA. Low power mode, no longer a problem with the double upgraded power plants. They are, for the current moment, protected by a fire base. So if another GLA unit shows up, Palace is back online, by the way. So we do have buggies, we do have battle buses back on the menu for the GLA player. Warthogs cross the map. That's a real black market, so it really does go down, and it really does hurt the GLA economy when it happens. Sometimes the supply drop zones don't actually line up well. Sometimes the cash from the supply drop zones does miss, and you have to send a unit to go and collect it. He was waiting on that one. He's got himself another power plant as he's getting his strategy center back up and running. He's at 19 out of 20 power, so he does want to keep his lights on. Artillery platform is going to fire away at the buggy, but the buggy will evade it for now. Oh! He turns around. He drives right back into it. He should be able to escape now. Last shot would have missed as long as the buggy is moving. Rangers hoping to clean up this worker. Search and Destroy has now been reinitiated by the USA player. Getting to see the joys of the double supply drop zone from the USA. He's only got that one oil derrick, but he has that one particle cannon, which is perhaps most important of all. He can burn down... he could try and go Palace, Arms Dealer, Black Market in a line there, or Black Market, Arms Dealer, Black Market. That could also work as a particle cannon usage. Battle bus, double rocket buggy, and quad cannons now stepping out onto the field. They've been spotted by the USA. They will also tag this supply drop zone plane. Humvees are here to meet them. Tomahawk is positioned sort of in the middle of the base, so you can reach a lot of places. Particle cannon fires off, other side of the map. Onto the Black Market it goes. Maybe a little bit slow on the movement there. We'll find the other Black Market might go... Oh, he goes for the fake as well, so there we go. Fake Black Market gets cleaned up. Dozer will go down. Gamma Bus moves in, sets up shop. He is in the back of the base, and the leaflet drop on top of the bus will shut down the movement and save the strategy center as well. TumStep has been defeated. The GG comes out. The low eco ending favors Marakar. Is it feeling too scripted? Is it feeling too predictable when you've got a world champ player going up against someone who has been stuck in the quarterfinals? And they start out the series 1-1. They start out the series very even. And then the world champ just starts putting points on the board, showing why they have a World Series title to their name. He's here to contend. He's hoping to stop the bleeding of points. This is TumStep with the China infantry with a very fast airfield. Meanwhile, on the right side, playing the USA Air Force. He's got the real air power. This is Marakar. And I feel like, you know, anytime I see USA Air Force, I always want to imply, or you know, I'm always inclined to think of them as being the strongest faction in the matchup. But, you know, China Infantry, they have got some powerful units to their name. They also have some very expensive units to their name. So sometimes if you lose those expensive units, it doesn't matter how powerful they are, you just don't have the cash flow to rebuild them. Also, I guess one other advantage of being a USA player is these barrels pose a bit less of a threat, whereas those China trucks can have real problems caused by the barrels there at the supply on the north side of the bases. Minigunners out onto the field. Minigunners go into the Helix, so that's like a $5,000 Helix there. The bunker upgrade, the Helix, the minigunners inside of it. Okay, the bunker upgrade does actually finish. It would be kind of funny if he was just using it as a transport, as the Humvee doesn't actually light up the barrels, will light up those supply trucks, but on the other side of the map, it's going to be 2 dead Humvees here for this bunker. Is this a 3rd dead Humvee on the front line? Those minigunners just chewing up these USA forces. Firebase on the front line just gets immediately deleted because it just doesn't shoot up. Another dead minigunner, might even be a dead dozer here, as this Helix moves to the backside of the USA base and shreds both of those Chinooks. This is a lot of cash flying around in the sky, but it's also done a ton of damage 2. Okay, it's done even more damage than I thought. I thought it was looking good. I didn't think it was end the game right there good, but that will do it. Marakar is out. And, yeah, those China infantry units are powerful. Turns out USA Air Force, they have met their match, but now can Marakar do the exact same thing on the flip? See, this map score is looking a lot better now. Happy to see another point on the board there for TumStep. Although from this point forward, he could suffer the exact same fate that Staz did versus Excal. Will we end up seeing the same rush to airfield, the minigunner priority from Marakar that TumStep went for? Because, of course, TumStep, he just pulled that off. So in the back of his mind, he's going to be thinking, okay, what's the chance that Marakar does the exact same thing to me? Might be pretty high. If it's pretty high, then I need to defend against it better than what Marakar defended against mine. He does have the spy drone on the other side of the map, so he will be able to get some eyes, but he will also see this is not a super fast airfield. The airfield may still be incoming, but the airfield for Marakar, or for TumStep, started at, like, I don't know, the 50-second mark, and we are past that. It is into the War Factory first for Marakar, so some differences here for sure. Dozer also going to be crossing the map. It was a 3-dozer opening for Marakar, and it is going to be Humvee all loaded up. That's a bunker onto the front line. And this is an infantry bunker as well. So if that thing gets up and running, it might be very difficult to dislodge. Mines get deployed immediately, one of the benefits of the infantry bunker. And double oiled air capture coming in here for TumStep. Humvees will target down that bunker. Nothing inside of it. Easy kill there for the USA player. TumStep adding more Humvees into the mix. Will be able to escape with this dozer for now. Missile Defender gets a couple of shots off against this assault troop transport, as the minigunners will make short work of anything on the ground that's in range. Flashbangs landing on top of the minigunners, and some good damage output right from the beginning for TumStep. Dozers coming into the middle of the map. More supplies centers set up for Marakar, though. Once again, if he goes big eco mode, it doesn't matter if he has a bit of a slower start. He can out-macro almost anyone in the game, and he will swallow up the map if given the chance. Marakar kiting away from these Humvees. The dance of the outpost versus the Humvee. They both have incredible damage output between the minigunners and the tank hunters versus the Humvees, now with their tow missiles, with the missile defenders inside. Double bunker on the front line, you know, basically free mine coverage for the building. I guess it's not free, you know, because the bunkers cost something, but you don't have to buy the mines for the building itself, and of course throw whatever units you want into the bunker if you have a mind to. Double Humvee in the north, triple Humvee in the south. For the current moment, no ambos packed along for the ride. Another supply being added on by the USA player, and the airfield in the back line as well. Outposts have scouted out the southern attack. Have they also spotted the northern attack? It was a quick game previously, but it's lasting a little bit longer as one Humvee goes down in the north. The ones in the south get chased away, and that's going to be a dead dozer for Marakar. He has got a camped airfield as well. That's going to be one dead MiG, and the other one, oh, can he actually get off the ground? Yes, he can. He manages to escape, at least for the current moment. Humvees continuing to cross the map. Dozer somewhere out on the field in the middle could end up getting sniped. Would cause a problem for the China player, as we have these MiGs taking massive damage, going down. Goodbye to the airfield. It doesn't even get sold off as the Humvees make their way onto the front line. And a building being captured here in the north, the oil refinery, going to the side of TumStep. He might actually just even things up. Marakar can absolutely still take this game, but things are looking very nice for TumStep, and as far as his openings, he needs to now find a way to cut down the economy of his opponent without giving away a massive number of Humvees. In the south, it's going to be Raptor going down. Minigunners find their shots, but the Humvees clean out most of the forces on the ground. Minigunners get on top of a couple of the Humvees. That's 4 dead Humvees onto the front line, and the Minigunners will trade out happily from this position forward. Humvees manage to kite the rest of the Minigunners and clean them out. When they're up close and personal, the Minigunners can actually trade with the Humvees. But as soon as they get a bit of distance, the Humvees win that fight. Goodbye to that Dragon tank. Black Napalm has been upgraded. An expensive upgrade for the China player, but it is worth it. Command Center is now up and running with the Command Center online. We do, of course, have support powers entering the menu, but also the dozer snipes are no longer a problem for Marakar to worry about. Humvees will try and get the run over on these. They don't get in it. They basically get nothing. Those Humvees didn't get nearly as many crushes as I thought they were going to. I thought they were going to kill a lot more of those minigunners than they ended up killing. Marakar with a decent army out on the field, and also he has been spreading himself out quite well as well. King Raptors going around the map. In the north, though, this is where the USA currently has the advantage. Dozer going to dive away from that flame wall, but in the south, it's transports versus Humvees. Transports on both sides, just one's a little bit better at shooting at a distance. Humvees taking a little bit too much damage. One of them gets chewed up and eaten by the minigunners. MiGs come in. Double MiG on top of the Humvees. Goodbye to those Vs. And both of the MiGs end up surviving. Firestorm can be a deadly thing for any USA player to deal with. As the Humvees move forward, they're able to clean out what's left of this Chinese attack in the south. But at the same time, Carpet Bomb coming in on top of those oil derricks, on top of the army almost. As the airstrike comes in, also the artillery barrage, but both of the oil derricks end up surviving. I thought they were both going to be dead. TumStep gets an extra minute or two out of these oil derricks. Okay, the MiGs might just come in and finish them off. Split the targets, and one MiG traded back for it. So MiG ends up going down, but at least he gets the kill on the oil derricks. And they don't have the MiG armor upgrade, so I'm not sure if they would have survived if they did, but they definitely didn't survive, so, you know, that's that. Black Napalm is nice. MiG armor is also nice, and as long as one MiG survives, then generally speaking, it is worth it. Although I don't remember if the prices for Infantry General are different, so that might be based on the China vanilla math. I'm not 100% sure. As the MiGs come in, split their missiles. One MiG goes down. The others, it looks like, survive, as the outpost will push back these Humvees for the current moment. Lots of forces on the side of TumStep, but again, both players have these low health unit comps that can just disappear in a few seconds. Minigunners made short work of the stuff in the sky, but the stuff on the ground pushes forward. It's 2 Humvees which go down, but it's a lot more on the China side that get eliminated. Okay, here we can even things up as Marakar shows up, cleans up those Humvees. Most of them end up most of the Humvees that got hit ended up going down, and all of the MiGs have now survived, so I am curious. Okay, he doesn't actually have the MiG upgrade, so he saved himself the cash, but he just took so little damage that he didn't lose a single MiG in that exchange. Humvees making their way out onto the map. TumStep, he's got himself a supply drop zone or 2, nice and early. Adds on a power plant as well because he is low power mode once again. Could go for the power plant upgrade if he wants to, but for the current moment, he's choosing to add on more power plants. which is fine, but is he going to see this listening outpost, or this attack outpost rather, in the north? This could be another dead power plant, which would send TumStep back into low power mode. Well, Humvees are here, and it looks like they will be able to shut this attack down. Dozer even survives, so you don't need to spend the extra cash rebuilding a Dozer if you don't want to. War Factory takes a chunk of damage. Support powers are very good. Mines will be cleaned up. Spectre gunship is also here. And, you know, Carpet Bomb, A-10 Warthog, Spectre gunship, all good choices for the USA Air Force. Carpet Bomb on top of the MiGs, a couple of them on the deck. Pretty much everything goes down. 2 MiGs survive. That was a massive strike from the USA player, and it's going to be a dead command center as well. Someone planting a bomb somewhere, but the Humvees are going to get the kill on that CC. 2 Dozers out on the map for the China player, and drive into the mines. Well, that's the price you pay. But the artillery platform will also be broken as Marakar gets his front door knocked on and burst down by pure rocket firepower of the USA player. Tons of mines there in the north that will slow the assault of the USA player, but this front has been completely cracked. The Carpet Bomb, the Spectre gunship, plus the Humvee follow-up. Firestorm will ignite. That's going to be 2 or 3 dead Humvees as they push through the fire and they find the airfield. They get the kills on the MiGs and they knock down everything else as well. Bunker gets busted open and Marikar's main base has been trashed. He's still holding on. He's still in this game to some extent, rebuilding the command center in the south, hoping that he can find the angle to kill off this USA force. And, well, he wasn't able to do it with those forces, but he's still got a lot of minigunners on the ground. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of minigunners left on the ground as the ambo is going to link back up with this attack force. Reactor will get shut down. And there's another group of Humvees, 5 of them, in fact, in the north, which can move in and join up with this force. Artillery barrage fires off. Carpet Bomb as well catches the army. Massive damage done to TumStep. And he's also going to be calling in the artillery barrage, trying to hit moving targets. It's difficult to do as the Humvees look to re-engage. TumStep surrounding this China player. TumStep driving into mines yet again, but he will get to kill this command center for the second time, and TumStep puts his 3rd point on the board, evens the score with Marakar. He is not looking to repeat history. We're back on Blossoming Valley for game number 7. One of these players will take the lead. Is it going to be the current defending world champ in the north playing the GLA Vanilla? This is Marakar. Or in the south, he has got himself a win streak running. He's playing USA Super Weapons, and he is going for an actual build. This is TumStep. GLA versus USA Super Weapon, and we have ourselves a spy drone on the right side of the map. TumStep is worried about something being snuck along that right edge of the map. GLA Vanilla, no Toxin, no Stealth, no Demo, but it's versus the USA Super Weapons General, the least effective Rock V builder of the bunch, but this is a triple supply map. And then you can also long distance harvest from these supplies in the middle. And as we've talked about before, you've got the oil derricks here on the left side. You've got artillery platforms there on the right side. And we have some kind of a drop coming in with this Chinook in the north. In the south, it's going to be RPGs and terrors. That's a dead power plant. Good night to the electricity of the USA, but good night to all of these workers in the supply lines of the GLA. RPG troopers, I'm guessing, get back inside of that technical. And over to the left side goes this Humvee. A couple of techs are already here. RPG troopers hopping into that tunnel network. And, well, Chinook is just going to head back home. Humvee inside, safe and sound. Taking a bit of a nap as he gets teleported back to his home and dropped off very nicely. Dozer will be defended by the buildings hidden away in that safe little crevice. Other Dozer didn't actually go for the third supply, so he just drove over there to hide, not actually going for a 3-supply opener, as the USA not even going for a 2-supply opener because the terrorists get the kill there, and the technical won't even be punished for it. Technical manages to escape off to the right side, and it feels like Marakar has all of the momentum in the world for the moment, especially by killing off the supply center of the USA player, by crossing the map with all of these technicals. He doesn't have some crazy number of tunnel networks out and working for himself, but he does at least have the 2 in the middle of the map. And even though he took some economic damage early in the game, it feels like he mostly has reset and recovered, and getting the kill on supply center of his opponent is a big win there as well. TumStep gonna have to save up his cash if he wants to rebuild that supply center, and for the current moment he's spending it all on more and more rock V's, as these techs will find an angle to try and engage. RPGs pop on out, and they manage to clean up a couple of these Humvees. Or do they? One more Humvee steps forward. That's another dead Humvee as the RPG troopers find the engagement right at the edge of their range. And Technical's going to be going down. Marakar loads up the tech, which was not targeted by the laser lock, to save all of those RPG troopers. And, well, you're going to lose sight of what's inside of what in just a moment. Terrorists step on out, and a couple of them end up getting shut down. RPG troopers onto the front line, and that's a toxin tractor that gets lit up immediately by a quad laser lock from the USA. TumStep showing his power with the Humvees. Couple of games in a row, even with USA super weapon, he can still get it done. That's going to be more terrors onto the front line. This is Marakar hoping to shut down the production of the USA, but no, it's not actually enough. There's the last one. He doesn't get the Dozer, but he does get the production. Arms dealer goes down in the north. War Factory goes down in the south. 2 critical infrastructure kills for both players. And if he's able to get this second arms dealer as well, then that's going to be no vehicle production for either side for just a couple of moments here, as they're already working on rebuilding that infrastructure. It's up and running for the USA player. It's nearly up in the fake version for the GLA player. But these Humvees have not been stopped. They are still having free reign in the north side of the map. TumStep putting out more and more damage onto Marakar, hoping to get this win and keep the wins rolling, because he's been adding points to the board. He's been evening things up, and if he could now take the lead in this series, that could be a huge mental booster for him versus the current reigning world champ, versus the guy who knocked him out of the World Series last time. And he has done a huge amount of damage with these Humvees on the north side of the map. A couple more dead RPG troopers, and it's going to be another dead tunnel network as well. TumStep doesn't want to push his luck by going too far with these Humvees, but now with reinforcements coming in, he's got even more staying power. Additional Humvee, additional ammo on the front line. He's actually got some maximum healing now on the front line. Okay, well, he just ends up losing a Humvee. The Humvee that comes in for reinforcements doesn't last very long, but these other ones are double vets, so they are elite status with the repair from the ammo as well. They're going to trade out versus this Stinger site. They don't want to stick around for too long, getting dangerously low to being cleaned up. Marakar has set himself up in the middle of the map because his main base has been completely blasted open. Double tunnel network being established there in the middle. Meanwhile, supply has been rebuilt, this time on the left side of the map. Dozer heading over to the right side of the map to try and rebuild that. Another tunnel network will be going down. TumStep, he just keeps on rolling with these Humvees. They have not been shut down. Many attempts have been made by Marakar, but he just hasn't been able to find the angle, and he has done it. TumStep puts another point on the board. He is up in this series, and Marakar slips up. Can the points keep on rolling? If your name is TumStep, you are looking to defend against all of that Rock V nonsense that just rocked the world of Marakar. And Marakar, on the other hand, is looking to just rock those Rock Vs until the end of time. He lost out on in the last map on Tiny Tactics to be able to use those Rock Vs to maximum effectiveness because he got shut down by that surprise bunker licks from the China infantry. So Marakar has now lost 2 games in a row to Rock V builds without having an opportunity to win a game with Rock Vs. This is his chance to win the game with Rock Vs. He's going to be buttoning up this Dozer on the right side of the map instead of securing the Dozer on this left side. Dozer moves out, doesn't manage to find any tunnel networks to deny the construction of. He doesn't find any worker kills, any workers to run over. Meanwhile, that Dozer is dead. One more shot. Okay, there we go. He finally does actually fall as the Humvee moves into position. And the tech will get scared down to the south side of the map. A couple of RPG troopers going to step on out, and they end up going down. Nice control there by Marakar. Gets absolutely everything and doesn't lose anything on his own side. It is going to take a moment for the Humvee to cross back over to get those repairs, and it will happen very, very slowly. 2 more techs crossing the map from the north to the south as TumStep will find himself meeting a couple of missile defenders on the field of battle. That missile defender range is just so massive as that tech goes down. And TumStep, he is, as I mentioned a while ago, fighting for the color green to be the green representative in this tournament, as Marakar does often play green himself. But he's fighting against the world champ, against the guy who knocked him out in the quarterfinals last time, to truly get his revenge this year, this time. And Terrors will find this supply stash, the supply center on the left side. That's a dead supply for the USA player, and that's a Chinook that's just going to be long distance harvesting there. Rangers now into the Chinook to go ahead and clear some of these buildings around the map. Tech comes in. Terrors don't get the detonations that they're looking for. TumStep has spotted the 4 Humvee attack squad on the right side of the map. The ambo is here as well. Want to kite right on the edge of range. That's the hope for these USA players. They all get their Humvees. They all just want to kite forever right on the edge of range. I love dropping off a couple of these Rangers to try and shut down the supply lines of the GLA. If it works to just kill off a couple of workers, then it probably is worth it, considering those Rangers were basically free. Although the technicals now may be able to find and kill these Humvees. What's inside the techs? Otherwise, they're just going to be trading at range with these USA players. That's more dead terrorists. There was nothing. There was basically nothing inside of those techs. So one tech did try to get a surprise from the north, tried to come in with a couple of terrorists and blow up the line of Humvees, but that didn't work. So Marakar just got the cleanup on basically all of those GLA forces. And TumStep has not a lot out onto the field right now. He's got more technicals, but he hasn't hit a critical mass. And he's also lost so many of those, so many terrorists throughout the course of this game without getting almost anything for them. He has not stopped the snowball building. He has not stopped the death ball of Humvees from rolling. There's more technicals popping on out. And Marakar, if he opens up one side of this map, he can kind of kite and escape away with his Humvees for a long time. He's not getting sandwiched. He's not getting surrounded. He's just going to try and build. He's going to try and play this one out as long as possible. And TumStep has been defeated. Marakar has now evened things up once again. This time, he's the one catching up in the score. TumStep had a nice win streak rolling, but it is now over. Marakar has made this next map extremely important. And I'm so glad to be back here on Thermopylae for another game. And this is a tiebreaker, no less. In the north, playing the USA Air for the green color, this is TumStep. Absolutely showing why he deserves a spot in the semifinals. But it's not going to be easy because playing the GLA Stealth, this is Marakar. And of course, because this is all tied up, both players will get a chance to play both sides of this matchup. And if we have another 1-1 on our hands, then we do go to Black Hell, which is TumStep's map choice, to be our last chosen battleground before we move to the Decider map, which is preset before the game even by the tournament organizers from the very beginning. There is that dam, which can break open to flood this low ground area, which is an amazing map feature to see. I was very excited when we got to see it in the Frosty Fire versus Drunkle episode, where Dr. Uncle and Frosty Fire had a very long and epic game on this map. However, we have got ourselves a technical trying to cross the dozer, trying to go for the crush. Both players wanting to get that critical momentum-making game, as TumStep will lose his power. That dozer is kind of out in the open in a bit of an awkward spot. Power plant will restart there, backed up against the wall next to that dead airspace, as the Humvees are starting to roll out and roll across the map. The lights will be back on. TumStep will have slow production, but only for a couple of moments here. And wherever that Chinook is going, he was not there to block some of those rockets. I thought he was joining to help these Humvees fight that technical, but it ended up being he was crossing the map for a different reason. Ended up taking a lot of damage, almost going down, will end up surviving. Stealth tunnel network coming up on the left side of the map, as Marakar is looking to spread out his GLA forces. Arms dealers coming up. He's got one already. A second one is going to be online soon. There is quite a bit of cash spread around this map. You got a third supply kind of over here on the right side. You've got supplies in the middle of the map. You've got a couple of oil derricks as well. And then, of course, you've got this potential underwater supply dock there as well. All right, Terrors. Don't really find anything this time. Try again a few moments later. As for the current moment, the GLA Marakar is sitting at about 7k per minute of income. The help of these oil derricks being captured to boost your income is quite nice, but it doesn't last forever if your opponent targets them like that right there, just shoots them up, then suddenly that income boost disappears. And you've just got to rely on the old-fashioned form of making money. Quad pops come out, and that's a lot of quads onto the front line to try and shut down these Humvees. The Humvees decide to re-engage. That's a lot of firepower from the GLA. You might be able to get a couple more quads here on the edge, but he also might just end up walking into too much gunfire. Quads are kind of positioned a bit awkwardly when they're stacked up like this. Only one quad can potentially fire at a time, and the Humvees can out-DPS the quads. Tunnel network ends up going down. The GLA hole does still remain. Marakar setting up quite nicely on the left side of the map, a nice spread of tunnels, but he does have to deal with this force of Humvees on the right side of the map. The Humvees, they've hit that mass of 4 units, but this is a lot of tunnel networks for them to contend with. Those stealthy tunnel networks and the presence of the stealth general in general just means that you have to have so much stealth detection always along with your units. Tunnel networks coming up on the left side there, spread all around the map by Marakar for the current moment. RPG troopers might be getting cleaned up here. Another Humvee. No, nothing goes down actually. Marakar hoping to get a kill on these Humvees and actually clean some of these units up, because he's done a good job of almost killing Humvees, but not always being able to finish the job. Laser lock comes in. That's going to be 2 dead quads if they get the uptime to fire, and they do. But a 3rd quad shows up, and, well, that's 2 dead quads, but 1 living quad to clean up the rest of these USA forces. Marakar dominating on the economy front, but it's not the end of the world for the USA player as long as he keeps that critical mass of Humvees alive, and that is what Marakar has done such a good job of, thinning the herd of Humvees. The last minute or so, he's actually been able to get the kills. He's actually been able to thin the herd. Earlier than that, TumStep was doing a really good job of avoiding that critical damage. More terrors right onto the strategy center. That's the cleanup crew, and he actually brought 2 more to get the power plant as well, so it's low power mode. It is slow production for the USA player as Marakar looks to just swallow this map, deny everything from TumStep, and force him into this little corner. Sometimes the USA player can fight for a long time on limited supplies, but oh, nope, not in this case. He is actually just forced out of the game. And okay, that was a little bit of a faster game. The action did come quick, but of course now we have the opposite chance. We have the hope for the reverse, as TumStep has been doing a good job of staying within poking distance of Marakar, even leading the series briefly there. But unfortunately for TumStep, Marakar is back in control, but again, only by 1 point. So very easily, TumStep could turn this one around, and if he's able to pull off the same swallow the map tactic, repeatedly bomb out your opponent's infrastructure, well, we might just see the repeat of the same old each player takes 1 point on a map dynamic that we've seen a number of times in this series. Airfield coming up super fast for Marakar, so he is hoping to avoid, and for at least the current moment, he has not sold off his command center, so he is hoping to avoid the reliance on the War Factory. We'll see if that ends up working out for Marakar, because I assume it's going to be a lot of techs and terrors coming in from TumStep. We do also have this the spy drone directly over top of this GLA base, so he is getting a decent idea of what TumStep is doing. He has decent eyes on that southern base. Oh, just in time, the King Raptor shows up, and even though the tech gets the crush on the Ranger got the capture moments before. Dozers are still alive just for the moment, and the War Factory will be added on. But TumStep had no idea that it was an airfield first for Marakar. So now that has been revealed, he's seen the 2 King Raptors as they bursted down those techs, and he knows he's going to need the quads. He knows that he's going to have to be more careful about these units roaming around the map, because King Raptors are just that good. Humvees are now out. That big death ball can begin to grow. Worker will get crushed, I assume, right? Okay, yes, Worker will get crushed there. So that tunnel on the left does get denied. Worker is here in the middle of the map, and there's someone inside of this building as well. So there are still lots of tunnels that can be established by TumStep. Even what's inside doesn't matter. It's dead now. Had himself a couple of RPG troopers at least. Might have had some other stuff as well. And King Raptor is here, gonna zap away some of those missiles, make sure those RPG troopers can't really do anything about these attacks that come in. Work on the low ground, may end up being spotted by Marakar. And TumStep, he steps forward. He is just boldly going for that oil derrick. Is he really going to be able to just capture this in the face of Marakar? That seems absolutely insane. He is going to try. He is going to fail, as the oil derrick doesn't get captured, but this worker could potentially deploy a tunnel network. There is a spy drone basically on top of that location and on top of this location here on the left side. So the King Raptor will show up, and that's going to be a dead worker. That's going to be a dead tunnel network as well. And overall, TumStep has been denied almost every forward tunnel network location that he has tried to build. Stealthy Rebel on the left side there gets cleaned up, or actually doesn't get cleaned up, just gets spotted. For the current moment, nothing has happened, and the worker ends up going down as well. King Raptors are so good, and Marakar is good at hunting, as he now has Search and Destroy also set up for his Humvees. He's got that additional range. He can now kite that much more easily, that much more effectively, and he's going to catch 2 quads, maybe 3 or 4 quads on the high ground. Donation here from TumStep as he loses all 4 quads, trying to find an angle on that oil derrick, gets nothing for them. Stealthy Rebel gets crushed. No, he just runs right past him. He didn't actually see him. I guess he's not being revealed by anything anymore. And the building will get busted open. And there's always another King Raptor, it seems, even when the terrorists come. They didn't even get the oil derrick. These things are starting to go from bad to worse for TumStep. He's got the better economy, he's got the better income per minute, but it really doesn't feel that way when the engagements are going this poorly. You don't care what the stats say, it just feels like Marakar is crushing everything. 2-star general for Marakar. He is Air Force general, so as he starts cashing in those general's points, he can get some lovely support powers online. He's got the strategy center, he's got the command center. He can call in a carpet bomb if he so chooses. And okay, the army of TumStep is just evaporating. It is being pummeled into the ground by rocket after rocket from Marakar. Rocket buggies get sniped. That's the reveal of the Palace tech. It has been constructed. Good detonation there. Gets 2 or 3 Humvees, but that doesn't deal with the rest of what Marakar is doing. The economy of the USA player has taken over the economy of the GLA player, and this is a 3-star general rating as well. So that's going to be a dead oil derrick on the front line. More dead economy from the GLA, and that's going to be a fake battle black market, but it does end up going down for real. It gets cleaned up. No, really, it does. The cleanup wasn't fake. And 2 or 3 rocket buggies get eliminated. 1 volley from that King Raptor knocks down those GLA artillery units. And, well, again, it feels like things just going from bad to worse for TumStep. Marakar, maybe he can still fall down in this game. TumStep does still have a little bit of stuff under his control, but he taps out. He's also feeling like there isn't a chance in this one. And Marakar goes up 6-4 against TumStep. He is now in match point position. No more hope of making a mistake. TumStep has to win every game from here on out. And that takes us to the map Black Hell for game number 11 of this best of 13. In the north, playing the GLA demo, this is Marakar. Meanwhile, in the south, playing the GLA vanilla, this is TumStep. The nice thing here is that this is TumStep's map choice. So in this case, if he was up on match point, it would be bad for Marakar playing on TumStep's map choice. But this couldn't be better, because if he can get 2 wins here on his own map choice, it'll be all evened out. We will go to the ace match and we will have a mirror match preset on Oxygen to decide it all. But it comes down to this. TumStep has no more chances to give, no more lives to fall down upon. It is do or die here for TumStep. And Marakar, he can do things that are a bit risky. And hey, GLA versus GLA, it can be a matchup that is decided very, very quickly. Terrorists are good. Demo terrorists are also very, very good. So we'll see what is able to happen here. We have seen some matches be decided very, very quickly with some key detonations from GLA players. And this tech is crossing the map. Is this the key detonation, or is this a fake out? There's going to be the War Factory going down, and the tech survives. He gets into the supply line, and TumStep starts out with a bad opening. It's not a good start, although he is going to pick up at least 1 piece of scrap for his tech, and he does have those veteran technicals right from the beginning. Tunnel Network didn't get denied, so it does come up for TumStep there in the north. Marakar sending his techs all over the map, trying to find another angle, trying to find another opening, and you never know what anything has inside of it. Could be empty, could be a couple of RPG troopers. That's 2 dead techs on the side of Marakar. Double scrap deny, though. Oh, that is so frustrating for TumStep to deal with. He may have picked up 1 or both of those pieces of scrap, but the intent was to deny the scrap. Okay, this might be the hero super tech that TumStep needs to live in this game. Demo trap does get finished there. This is from the side of Marakar, so it could be triggered by a worker crossing over, and that would be the least of the worries of TumStep. Or he could also just sweep it out. I'm not sure. He didn't actually beacon it, so I assume he knows that it's there, but he might not have actually seen it be there. In which case, he won't actually know to clear that out. Tunnel Network's coming up. Marakar, he's got himself a nice ring of tunnel networks in the middle of the map. Not quite up yet. Oh, into the supply lines goes that tech as well. Gets a couple more worker kills there before going down. And this hero super tech from TumStep is just doing massive damage. Still no tunnel in the north. I keep seeing unit movement up there, and I'm expecting it to be another tunnel network. But one in the middle of the map is being established. Good economy spread from Marakar. He's up nearly 1K per minute. But the oil derricks are doing a lot of the heavy lifting there. Well, not so much anymore, as that's going to be a dead oil derrick, and this continues driving through. Okay, no second drop of terrors out of that technical. He is just going to get a full scout off. He's going to see what he can see, and the demo trap doesn't really catch anything there. Terrors don't deploy in time. They don't detonate in time, I should say. They do end up falling without getting another critical explosion. TumStep going to try and take the supplies in the middle of the map. Would be nice to have that as a little triangle location with your 2 supplies in the base and then 1 supply straight forward from there. TumStep might just win this whole game with this 1 unit. And there is almost no underestimating, or overestimating perhaps, a hero super tech. It does so much damage, so fast, has the ability to repair anywhere on the map. can just 1v1 almost anything, you know, taking down Emperor Overlords just about, as he is trying to hunt down his technical counterpart on the other side of this matchup. Maybe doesn't want to 1v1 a tunnel network or a stinger site or something, but other than that, he's pretty happy to 1v1 just about anything that his opponent will have. No! As that was almost disaster for TumStep, but he does manage to keep it alive. He gets the spot on that demo trap, cleans it up. Advanced or not, it doesn't matter because the demo trap is dead. And TumStep, he's got the quad cannon numbers. If he could close the distance, he could win that fist fight, at least initially. I'm not sure what else might pop out of these tunnel networks from Marakar, who is up nearly 2K per minute over his opponent. These smaller income advantages could become very big income advantages very soon, as that worker gets launched into the stratosphere. And another oil derrick. It doesn't go down, though. This one ended up getting cleaned up. Marakar now heading through the middle of the map. Is there anything loaded into that technical? It appears not. As is TumStep going to get trapped behind enemy lines? No, maybe it's RPG troopers on the edge of range. Oh, that's so much damage. But he does actually not survive. He's truly trapped. This might be the hopes of Marakar. This might be the death of TumStep. The hero tech dies, and with it, so do the RPG troopers. TumStep has bought himself a lot of time and a lot of space. He's still got that oil derrick there on the left side. His economy has stabilized. He has now evened it out with Marakar. He is still behind in total resources gathered, but that is fine as long as he's equal on the income per minute. As long as he is equalizing that out, then the armies can trade fairly effectively. A little bit of army value advantage isn't the end of the world as the quads pop out. Good focus fire from TumStep. He cleans up most of the forces of Marakar, but does he get all of them? Yes, he does. He even picks up a little bit of extra scrap as well. Marakar just looks like he is swallowing more and more of the map, but TumStep is starting to make a bit of presence known. He's starting to step out onto the map at least a little bit here, as this supply center is now gone, and TumStep might be able to take this high ground. If he could secure this location for himself, he might be able to squeeze Marakar out of this section of the map and kind of divide the map in half, which would obviously be a lot more favorable for TumStep than just having Marakar own everything and control everything. Technical comes through. Terrors do detonate on a couple of the quads, but not all of them, and they don't make it to the oil derrick. They don't get to any of the infrastructure behind the scenes either. They don't get to the palace. They don't get to any of that main base stuff. Marakar is certainly not in a bad position in this game, but he's not drowning TumStep. He isn't throttling TumStep back. So TumStep does certainly have a chance in this one as well. Battle bus right on the edge of range. A little bit annoying for Marakar there to have the battle bus, but he can't shoot up the hill because the rockets just collide with the terrain. Was that a bait? Did he really bait those quads down onto the low ground? Snipe comes out from Excal. Both of the quads end up going down, and if that was a bait, that was amazing from Marakar to send the worker down and to draw TumStep's forces out. But TumStep does also have Excal, so that's going to be both tunnel networks shut down as Excal turns his back on his GLA brothers and lets the demo units of Marakar get the kills, get the explosions to end that expansion location. Doesn't even snipe the workers. He could go back, try and snipe the workers, try and shut that down. Scorpion. Oh my gosh, he just dies to the artillery platform. Worker ends up going down. Another worker is coming in here for TumStep. Quads do pop out, battle bus and rocket buggies as well. He wants to shut down Jarman, and Marakar wants to shut down this section of the map as well. Quads close in on Jarman. That might be a dead sniping boy on the front line. No, he's still alive, at least for the current moment, as Marakar gets the win here in this skirmish. He had the faster buggies. He had more of them out on the map, even though they both have been on Palace Tech for a little while. Marakar had the better units out sooner. Doesn't mean he'll necessarily win this one, as the Scud Storm is coming up for at least TumStep. Marakar may be getting his own Scud Storm at some point. Scorpion Storm as well. Who knows? Maybe that's a mod added in. 3 black markets being added on for Marakar as he is digging in deep. The trenches are being dug by these players, and it looks like Marakar is taking over more territory, more of the supplies that are out on the map, but TumStep has his own section of the map as well. It's sort of an east versus west split. Oil derrick gets cleaned up. No, it survives again. Oh, okay, there's going to be more terrors. There we go, the first Scud Storm out on the field. The second oil derrick has gone down. Meanwhile, on the Marakar side of the map, Marakar has both of those oil derricks still intact. So that is the income advantage partially accounted for the majority of this game. But TumStep has taken the income advantage away from Marakar. That's going to be a demo rebel surprise. Surprise! It may not be your birthday, but you're still getting an explosive present. And that is one advantage that the demo player has over the vanilla GLA player, is the rebel surprise works as an additional super weapon. When you detonate all of the rebels together, you can do just massive, massive damage. But as I said, TumStep has been up in the last couple of minutes on income per minute, so they are actually tracking exactly even in terms of total resources gathered. Scud Storm now going to be added on for Marakar. He doesn't have a Scorpion Storm, unfortunately, but he does have a Scud Storm being added on. However, it will strike first for the vanilla GLA in the south. AP ammo could be added on. What are we got? Rocket buggies. We don't have AP ammo, which there are, you know, Scuds. There are Stinger sights. There are lots of RPG troopers that all do benefit from that AP ammo, but not wanting to get the upgrade just yet. Beacon comes in. There's the number 2 as well. So he just wants to keep track of which one is which. He'll know, you know, oh, I need to sabotage this one, or I need to shut it down somehow so that I can eliminate that. I guess he's demo, so he just wants to blow it up. Not so much just reset the timer. He wants to clear it out in a more permanent fashion. Demo traps being established all over the map for both players, perhaps, but definitely a lot more for Marakar. There were some. Okay, there's really just this one. Okay, he's got a couple of other demo traps around the place as well. But I hope you got your tea ready, because this one could be over in 3 minutes, or it could be over in 33 minutes. GLA has an ability to dig in deep to set up those difficult to cross lines. And, well, the demo trap does get inadvertently triggered by that worker, so TumStep loses that demo trap there. But, of course, he does have a Scud Storm to worry about as well. Only one yet on the side of Marakar, but another one on the way. Ends up clearing something out. Oil derrick went down at some point. And, well, they can't last forever, I guess, as Marakar has retaken the total resources gathered advantage from TumStep, who evened things up nicely a few minutes ago. but now has lost to the just sheer number of markets out on the field for Marakar. Oh, I thought he was going to send all 4 in for that. Okay, I don't know what the point of that was, but he is going to go pretty deep with the scout for those combat cycles there, those demo cycles. Jarman Kell shows up, rocket buggies show up, they fire off a volley at the artillery platform, and then they back away. That's a market down as Marakar hopes to eliminate the economy of TumStep one bit at a time. He is currently at basically double the economy of his opponent, and mostly because of the black markets. He's also got the supply working for him over there. And double the supply of your opponent means not double the Scud Storms in this case. It might eventually mean double the Scud Storms, but it does mean double the unit production as the game goes on and the cash on the map dries up. Those black markets become more and more important. He's trying to push in. He's not quite going to get the Scud Storm before it's ready to fire. And TumStep can start to turn the tide of this game. Or he could wait. He can also wait. Battle Bus is still locking down this right side of the map. And there's going to be the Scud Storm firing off somewhere onto the Marakar side of the map. Oh, just as I clicked away. Onto the oil derrick. Okay, so he wants to clean up that second oil derrick once and for all. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to the other first oil derrick, but that's okay. This one supply stash has not been sold off. He's just got a huge number of workers hanging out around it. And it is now 4 Scud Storms versus 3. Marakar not worried about having the most Scud Storms. He wants to have the best Scud Storms. Rocket buggies will be able to clean up that tunnel network in the north. Combat cycle rushing forward. That demo cycle gets a... Okay, he doesn't get any of the rocket buggies. I thought he was going to get a couple of them. But nope. 15 seconds until the next Scud, and then 30 seconds after that, we've got the first Scud from Marakar ready to go. So choose your target wisely. More markets coming up from Marakar. He's at just under 10k per minute. If he finishes those, he will be at 10k per minute or very, very close. Losing the oil derrick does hurt him quite a bit on that front, on the economy front. And looking for perhaps a new target. Into the tunnel network go the units as the Scud launches itself. Where is he looking to do the damage? On top of the Scud of his opponent. If he is hoping to push in here, he might want to do something else. Oh, he's right at the edge of range. Nicely done there as he shuts down that Scud Storm, but it did fire off. That's going to be a lot of damage on top of the palace, but it does manage to survive, sort of. The hole does open up and a sneak attack on top of that. Or is this just a distraction attack? We will see. Jarman Kell gets the snipe, and that's going to be an almost dead Scud. Ooh, right there. The hole does survive. The front door gets opened up, and these workers are going to town. Anthrax on top of... What is it on top of the War Factory? The Palace? Yep, on top of the Palace. All right, well, that kind of shuts that down. Does pause anything from happening. This one worker is surviving, standing right on the Anthrax field. I guess he's right on the edge of the range or something. But that one worker is surviving for the current moment. Some big strikes from both players, but one thing does remain. Marakar does still have the income advantage over TumStep. Double the income of TumStep since we have transitioned away from traditional economies and into the secondary economy. that is where Marakar is shining. Angry mobs waiting on the low ground. If anything steps onto the low ground, the angry mob will basically burst it down before it can do anything. Rebels should get the snipe on this worker. Yeah, just heading over. Ends up just going down. Quad cannon will head over to clean up the rebels, I guess. Get himself a couple of bucks. Hey, I'll take 60 bucks. Thank you very much. Scudstorm being rebuilt on the low ground. The Scudstorm is ready to go. I think it's this one over here. But, you know, Scuds traded back and forth with each other. Oh, it's this one over here. Oh, because the first one did get taken down, yeah. Markets chipped away at. Is there going to be a 1-2 punch? Last time he had the rocket buggies right on the edge of range to be able to knock down the actual Scudstorm and stop it from doing anything. Tunnel? Or was the sneak attack tunnel? Oh, I was looking for a green sneak attack tunnel, not a red sneak attack tunnel. Is into the back of the base. Goes the battle buses, and he's going to try and suicide his own base. Some of these units do survive at the edge of range there, and the GG comes out. TumStep doesn't have a way of stopping the army of Marakar, and he gets into the back line. He gets into the semifinals. The stage is set. Semifinal A will be Marakar versus Excal to see who of these world champions makes it into the finals. TumStep put up one heck of a fight, but in the end, it just wasn't enough. Thank you all very much for watching. Huge shout out to Silver Knight for sponsoring the channel here in 2025. Check them out if you need a custom PC. And a big thank you to the sponsors of the World Series as well. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is Sybert signing out.